Cocainum.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Woke moralists. Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralists.
up.
Up yours. Woke moralists.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stop Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stop Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what. Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
Up yours.
We'll see who cancels who.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, friends.
It's really hard to outdo that intro every week.
It's beautiful.
How are we supposed to just say hello after that so casually?
It really slaps. I was
Yeah.
fully buzzing. It really, it's really good. Especially the end. It's so official. I'm like, wow, production.
Yeah. I was like, darn,
I will
we're
say
really
our,
cool.
Our guest is in the waiting room. Should I bring him in?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Hey
Hello,
everybody.
Sam.
Sam,
Hello.
how's it going?
Good, how are y'all?
Good.
Doing well.
Fantastic.
Is it
It's
gonna be
good to
great?
be here. I'm excited. I've heard great things.
Well, you've heard correct then.
I was gonna be like, you've been lied to.
No.
Devious.
Gonna be
Do you want to
great.
introduce
I
yourself?
haven't been
And-
led astray by Olayemi yet, so I have high hopes and high
That's good.
expectations.
That's good. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do and where we can find you?
Absolutely. So my name is Sam White. I go by Sam Whiteout on the internet. And I have spent most of my career working in sort of two capacities. On one side, I work with brands and nonprofits on social impact campaigns, both digitally and in person. And I also travel the country and I work with high school students and college students and even the occasional middle school talking about political advocacy and social engagement and what the heck it means to be like a young person these days. So I dabble on the internet, I fuck around on TikTok, and other than that, I just try to make a difference in the ways that I can.
Nice. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, we're super happy to have you here. And yeah.
It's gonna be
I'm
great.
happy to be here. Also, I've realized I just cussed without asking if this is a
Oh,
cuss-friendly
we
show.
have to
but
end the
no, maybe
episode
it's
now.
Ah,
No,
damn.
you can cuss.
I have been known to demonetize.
With impunity.
Actually, to be fair, YouTube has been pretty soft on me recently, so it's fine
Nice.
regardless.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna make a concerted effort this episode. I decided. I'll do.
I sort of
I'll-
assumed that since you were on the show that there was cussing. I just
There is.
naturally made that immediate
quite a-
connection.
There was quite a bit of cussing, but I've decided that this audience does not appreciate my cursing. I was like, fine, get my.
Olay, you have to read
gotta
more
get
than
my-
4 comments under these videos. Like you pick out like the 4 terrible ones. That like it's like
It's true.
300 comments. They're all super
You're-
positive, and you post like 3 shitty ones. Like the vast majority of people love you.
You're
All the
not
comments are
wrong.
positive.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But here's to my credit. Here's what you can never say I'm not is I'm self-aware. Okay? I said this about me. If you go back to the first episode, I said this is the thing about me. I was always clear. but listen, I'm here. I'm doing my best. Okay. Nothing has changed. Business will go
Yeah.
on as usual.
The people absolutely love you. The two like top comments on the last YouTube posts from Leftist Mafia for me are like, "Oh my god, I'm in love with Olay. I've never fallen in love with anyone so fast." Although, if you go to my second channel, for those of you who don't know, I've been posting clips from the show to just my regular second YouTube, Mike Figueredo, and it's dominated by right wingers. Like, it's so fucking funny. So I posted a clip of our conversation about Jordan Peterson last week, and it got like 50% dislikes, and it's all right wingers shitting on us. And one of the comments made me laugh so hard. So they're like, Jordan Peterson is smarter than all 5 of you combined. And it's like, dude, there's 6 of us. You can't even count. There's 6 of us. It's just so it's a cesspool. So everyone go flood the second channel. I mean, we're talking hundreds of views here, right? So there's not a lot. I just like started posting to it, but check it all out.
I think it's so funny when people
That's crazy.
try to
Bender's
act like
always
Jordan
late. I didn't
Peterson.
even notice.
Yeah.
You didn't notice I was missing. What?
Bender, you jumped into. I was like, what's logging on? What's that?
What's going on?
Oh, right.
Wild Matt Binder appears.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, that's hilarious. Bender, you really did kind of roll up like a Pokemon. That's actually true. That's funny.
I'll remember this. Wait.
Back to productive conversation. Sam, Jordan Peterson.
Oh,
I was
also,
just saying,
what's
it's
happening on
amazing to me that-
TikTok? Translate TikTok to
What'd you say?
boomers. We need to know what's happening on the TikTok so we can relate to the Zoomers. Please help us, Sam.
I just think what's so interesting about Jordan Peterson is that people act like just because you speak with that slight pause and you sound like slightly more intelligent than like George Bush circa like 2003, that like you're this philosophical genius. But you can find like a random dude on a subway platform in Brooklyn who talks like that and nobody takes him seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Does he sound like Kermit? That's the question.
Does he sound like Kermit? Kermit?
Do you not?
Maybe-
Is this your first year hearing this? Jordan Peterson? Yeah, Jordan Peterson. Well, come on, woke moralists. Come on, everybody. Like,
I see it now. Yeah.
Speaking of Jordan Peterson and Kermit, I guess Kermit isn't necessarily relevant to what I'm about to say, but I tried so hard to find the clip from Jordan Peterson's audiobook. I know that Lance probably knows about this, where he's describing his grandmother's pubic area.
What?
I need
disgusting.
the panel to react to
It's
this. So
so
it's part of one of
Yeah,
my
I'm pretty sure.
outros.
I'm pretty sure Lance has that one bookmarked.
Lance has to have it bookmarked.
It's his
He
home
has
video with the
some sort
throne.
So the only one that I could find has copyrighted music. So I can't find just the clean version. Lance, if you have that, you've got to help us out, because the fact that more people don't know about this is genuinely unacceptable to me. Like, more people need to hear this. It is insane. Okay, he talks about a dream he had of his grandmother where she was stroking her bushy pubes and brought it to him. Like, I'm not going to spoil it, okay? Like, this one. No
Oh,
spoilers.
that's not spoiling it. What you just said didn't spoil that.
Yeah, okay, good. Like, I need people to
I
understand.
put it in the Twitter group. It's in the Twitter group. If you want to pull the quote up, so it can be read before the class. And I think we should have a guest Jordan Peterson voice. Sam, if you want to take this one away, and read.
I can try to do the voice. I go out of my way to try to be as like distantly relatable to Jordan Peterson as possible. I don't know that I could do the voice well.
The sound
I feel
bite.
like it's the pauses for me. That really is like it's I can deal with his nasally Kermit voice. He talks like he's announcing, mission accomplished in Iraq, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. He adds those like weird Republican pauses,
My material. Why so specific?
He read this aloud in his voice in the audiobook too. So if you can find that, then do that.
no.
Like, this is a real quote.
Okay, hold on. I'll see
Who
if
wants to read it in his voice? Lance, can you do this?
I'm not going to read this. I'm just telling you now. Someone else can
I'll take
read
it away. Oh, okay. Oh, bloody hell. All right. So I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother sitting by the bank of a swimming pool. There was also a river. In real life, she had been the victim of Alzheimer's disease, and she had regressed before her death to a semi-conscious state. In her dream as well, she had lost the capacity for self-control. Her genital region was exposed dimly. It had the appearance of thick mat of hair. She was stroking herself absent-mindedly. She walked over to me. It's got to now. She walked over to me with a handful of pubic hair compacted into something resembling a large artist's paintbrush. Pushed this at my face. I raised my arm several times to deflect her hand. Finally, unwilling to hurt her or interfere with her any further, I let her have her way. She stroked my face with the brush gently and said like a child, "Is it soft?" I looked at her ruined face and said, "Yes, Grandma, it's soft."
don't
Why
know.
can Lance do that
Wow.
Kermit voice that well? Lance, what's up?
Yeah.
Hold on, Lance. Like,
It's a
All us
Canadian
Canadians can
thing.
do that voice
I'll be
very
here
well.
all week.
That sounds like
Yeah.
that is many hours of practice.
was it?
David, can we hear your version as a Canadian?
Yeah,
dreamed
yeah.
I saw my maternal grandmother sitting down.
Oh my God! I
You
think
can
all
all do it.
Canadians
We
can
all
do
the
it.
voice, yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's how you get your passport. We should have told y'all. Yeah, that's how you get your passport. It sucks.
Get
It's the test.
Canadian citizenship if I could do it.
I'm scared
I think it'd be
right
funny to
now.
hear that in Drake's voice.
I love that.
I can't do that voice.
Yeah. That's a great quote, by the way. I just it's
yeah.
art.
Wait,
No,
so
why
what? I,
would he-
wait, I have,
why
a, I have
would
a
he say
question.
that?
What's y'all's favorite phrase from the? Because there's some real gems in there. What's your favorite phrase in that paragraph?
The description of the large artist's paintbrush, like he's describing pubic hair.
Yeah, I'm mad at
That's just the best part. Also, the I let her have her way in his voice.
Yeah, yeah.
I literally turned that into one of my outros, and it's my most popular outro. Everybody loves it. I put a beat to it. It's beautiful.
I think my favorite is
that.
her ruined face.
Yeah, her ruined face.
Yeah. Also, there's something about genital region. The use of the word region there, like, just feels just aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more eloquent than like her coochie or cooter or something like that, or vag. But like, it's just the way he chooses to share this.
Region makes it feel like such like a large geographic area, like
The cooter region.
Northeast or something. You know what I mean?
I personally like the descriptive of dimly.
Oh.
I'm like, what?
God,
I'm just
but yet he's
immature
smarter than all five of us combined.
somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I love it.
I'm just immature. The last line, yes, grandma,
actually,
it's soft.
I'm rereading this, and I gotta say, the handful of pubic hair resembling a large artist's paintbrush. Now, my question is, this. Listen, I'm a writer. Jordan Peterson is a very smart guy. Now,
Is the artist
is this
large?
an? That's what I was gonna ask. Is this a
Yeah.
very large artist? Did like Andre the Giant hold this up to his face, or is the paintbrush large? I don't get it.
I think it's both. I mean, that's the beauty of his brilliant writing. I mean, he really does.
It's a double
unintended,
entendre.
Paint,
That's why.
paint quite a picture here.
He's just smearing his grandma though. Like he's describing this jungle of unshaved pubes. It's just he did her dirty.
Like, I feel like he'd say that she did herself dirty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
but
grandma
why
would
would you
kill
put
me
this
if I
out?
said that.
Why would you put this in a book? Why would you be like, well, that was something I should share with the world, that I just experienced last night. I like.
Well, wait. So which is worse? The fact that it's extremely plausible that he simply made this up, or if it was actually a dream that he had?
I think this actually happened. I mean, I
Oh,
can't
this
imagine
yeah,
he
I
would
don't-
make this
yeah.
up for the book. I mean, maybe he's that deranged.
A little fan fiction here.
And honestly, it's weirder. It's weirder that he dreamed this. Like I almost wish this was a real life experience that he's describing. It would be much less weird, honestly.
Well, yeah, because I mean, at that point, there's something wrong that
Right.
happened to that.
Whether,
it's just abuse.
whether he dreamed it, whether it happened, or whether he made it up. None of that has anything to do with the amount of energy how it takes to sit and think about this, to write this long drawn out paragraph. It's like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you could be like, for whatever reason, I saw my Grammy's vagina. That was crazy, right? Like you said, I was
An editor, look over this. An editor had to proofread this for him afterwards. Like, oh, you actually have 2 commas there, sir. You're gonna have to edit this where it says paintbrush.
You
like,
think
you
someone
had to
edited his
Harry
book?
next to him, like, I'm gonna paint you a picture. I'm gonna take you there. He said, y'all need to be there with me. I don't want to tell y'all what happened. I want you to feel it too. Oh my god.
I also like how this is under the heading of good reads. Here's a good read right here.
Books for
Oh,
Women's
I don't
History
know if we
Month.
still want to listen to him read the audiobook, but I just dropped
It is
in the-
much better.
Kind
You
of.
found it?
And I like
Yeah.
the idea of the
All right, I
fact
guess
that
we're ready. There's no music on this one, right?
I don't believe so. I just looked it up and I found
there's
it.
an
Oh,
audio.
okay.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but I don't think there's music on it.
Because I couldn't find one without music.
Just have your mouse hovering
my
over
mouse
to the
ready
pause
in case
button.
something happens.
Yeah.
It's very important stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
We're
we
leading
only
the
start with
show with this,
with the
folks.
important stories here. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, sorry, it's not. I have to add it.
I think this is the music one.
You think so?
I think so.
Should someone check on their phone before it?
Oh yeah, let me check. Let me check.
You have
I don't
like
hear
5
music.
seconds like leeway if you shut it off. I think it comes on at the end, unfortunately, but we can.
Okay, well we'll see.
Wait, then I think I could find another version really quick. Here you go. I don't know if this is any different. Here.
Because
I'll
I'm
drop
pretty
it in
sure I
the chat.
watched this one.
I found a few. I just searched on Twitter and I found a few too.
Oh, okay, good.
This is a different length too, so it's not the same one.
Good.
Just by a couple seconds, but it's just good to know that it's a completely different pull of the clip.
I'm listening to, but I'm not hearing
You're
anything. Let
echoey,
me,
by
let
the
me
way,
see.
Matt. I don't know what that is.
What?
I said you're echoey a little bit, or you were in the
Oh,
last
am
time.
I?
You,
No.
you
Oh, no,
know
you're
what I
fine.
think we
Bring it to
aren't
my head.
giving enough credit to? I like the fact that he took the time in it to emphasize, to distinguish that it was his maternal grandmother, as though his paternal grandmother would sue. like she said, don't you dare. Like, you better be clear.
But can you sue if someone's just describing a dream they had of you?
I would sue you for negligent infliction of emotional distress.
So fast.
Yo, you were ready.
Yes.
I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother sitting by the bank of a swimming pool, which was also a river. Her genital region was exposed dimly. It had the appearance of a thick mat of hair. She was stroking herself absent-mindedly. She walked over to me with a handful of pubic hair compacted into something resembling a large artist's paintbrush. She pushed this at my face. I raised my arm several times to deflect her hand. Finally, unwilling to hurt her or interfere with her any further, I let her have her way. She stroked
Oh,
my
the way he
face
says
with the
that!
brush
Oh my
gently,
god!
Yeah, that's
like a
so. I
child.
hadn't heard that. That's so
That's
worse.
the line. That's the line. That's the worst line. I let her have my
yeah,
her way.
there's the music coming in. All right. Yeah, the music was about to come in.
It's enough at least. Like
That
you
was
get the
Careless
gist
Whisper
of
by
it.
George Michael.
Yeah, yeah.
I do
think-
want
I think we
to.
already hit our taste.
I do want to pull that line for like a soundboard. I let her have her
Unwilling
way.
to
It's
hurt
a
her or
great
interfere with
line.
her any further, I let her have her way.
How did he have a career after that? How was that not career ending? Was there not enough people who like knew about this?
It doesn't
Like, I
matter.
figure the first.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
guess fair enough.
think of all the crazy shit we've seen people say, and how wrong they've been again and again. It doesn't matter. Like they all serve a purpose. They get paid to serve that purpose, and it doesn't matter how many crazy shit is out there about them. Like look at someone like Matt Walsh. Like it doesn't. It doesn't.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's true.
matter.
Actually, that's
All
true.
across the world, Jordan Peterson fans cleaned their room with a broom made of their maternal grandma.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry, but like if my grandma came up to me with a bunch of pubes, I wouldn't just be like, "Okay, grandma." I'd be like, "Grandma, what the fuck are you doing?" Like I would haul her away immediately to the nearest home. That's not acceptable. That's not a normal thing that happens. I don't care if your grandma has Alzheimer's. That is not a normal response to just be like, "Okay, grandma, put it in my face." That's not normal. Normal people don't do that. That's so bizarre.
By the way, I'm convinced that this is not a dream. That this didn't. He just made this up.
Absolutely.
He 100% sat down and fabricated this.
Why?
Well, I think it happened, just not a dream.
Worse than
the benefit of making this up?
Worse than sitting down and making it up. I think it's a fantasy.
Oh no!
I think it's a Look at the words he's using.
Oh.
Dimly lit, have her way.
And the
This
way
is an
he
erotic novel.
says them.
This is teenage erotica. This is a fantasy. No, this is a fantasy.
Teenage erotica by a boomer.
No, it's sick. It's so sick.
Oh, the 16-year-old again.
It's real nasty. Oh, that's so nasty. Oh,
Not
no.
Does
only did
anyone
he
know if
make
there's like a
this up,
larger
but
point
he
to this?
definitely-
Like, is there a point he's trying to make around this paragraph? Like, there has to be a
I-
reason this came up.
I
Like,
don't know.
We'd
It's
have to
just
read
so
the book
random.
to find out.
Here's my thing though.
It's,
Unless you write erotica, there's no reason to write it in this way. You see what I'm saying? Like, assume you're a psychologist. Like, what? However you're offering it to me, why is it written like like Wuthering Heights. You see what I'm saying? Why is it written that way? Like, that's my issue. Okay, it's giving.
Yeah, it does kind of read like a Bronte novel.
Yes. Sick.
But no, I think to your point, David, like about like why did he do this? I think if nothing else, he did it so that he could say, "This is so crazy that no one would ever think I actually made this up." Because I think the thing about these
thing is though, this is
right-wing
before
lunatics is
he
they
got.
really enjoy.
This is
Go ahead.
before he became famous, though. Like this is like I think this is for his first big book. So like
Right.
he
So
didn't
he's going-
foresee what was going to happen in his career, right? Like this is a long time ago. So
No, I actually think this story, you know, right. It's one of his earlier books when he was like a serious psychologist. He's a psychologist, right?
clinical psychologist.
In theory.
Yeah. So I mean, he's probably putting this in the book as like an experience he had to show off. Like he probably goes on to like break down what the dream possibly means for someone like his for his psyche or something like that. That's my assumption. Like that's the reason I think you would go into a story like this to then pull out your because he loves to do this, pull out his PhD and say, I have the intellectual knowledge to break down what this means. And you know, he's a weirdo. And of course
and nonetheless, it goes back to my original, but why you write it like that. It's the same way like in You when Penn Badgley is like he's fighting with them because they want to present him in the most romanticized way when he should be presented as a sicko. He did not present that like, hey, dream that just happened to happen, let's unpack it, or you know what I mean? He said, welcome to my sexy fantasies, people. Like, where grandma had her way. You heard? He said dimly. He said dimly. He said expose dimly. He used the words dimly and have a way.
It's also not the only one in the book, by the way.
If
There's more?
A normal person that isn't down with that, even if whether they have a dream or they imagine it, that a family member, let alone their grandmother, decide to fuck them, it would be horrible. First of all, you wouldn't even call it a dream; you'd call it a nightmare. But you see this Wuthering Heights story, he's like, "Oh yes, Granny was being poetic with her
It's true. You should open with "in a nightmare that I had."
Right.
It's the worst possible scenario that could ever happen to me. Yeah, that's true. Not I read.
We went with let's go poetry.
Peterson's coming out. Yeah. I had a dream that
Oh my god.
that grandma.
Bender's a villain.
I love how we've spent like the entire show on this, and our guest is about to arrive soon. We haven't talked about anything.
Good. That's
happened
why
this week?
I said 9. You let us settle in. I see the. What do you think?
All right, how about we have some questions? We can retrieve a question and see what everyone wants us to talk about.
There we go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look here. I think the first one right off the bat, this one's nice and lighthearted. Are any of y'all weebs? What anime are y'all watching?
Weebs? I'm an old man. What is a weeb?
A person
Are you
who
serious? You work on the internet, sir. You don't know what that word means.
I feel like I may have come across the word before.
Anime, but... Okay.
A derisive term
Remind me,
for
I
a
think it's good.
non-Japanese person who is so obsessed with Japanese culture that they wish they were actually Japanese.
No, I'm not a loser.
Jesus.
But I am never a loser.
You do watch anime though.
Yeah. I said I'm not a loser. I would put that up there with very cool.
There's levels to this shit.
It's giving get you a girl who can do both. Okay, thank you. What you talking about?
Yeah. I'm not a weeb, but I do enjoy JRPGs. I'm playing Octopath Traveler 2 right now. In terms of animes, I'm not watching any, but as soon as the final season of Attack on Titan is out, I'm there day one. That's my contribution.
I was watching the world. I think it's The World Ends With You anime simply because I didn't play the game and I wanted to play the sequel, and so I was like, I'm like in the middle of that, but I haven't gone back to it. I'll get back to it at some point, but that's what I was watching.
I had started Avatar recently because I'd never actually seen it, and I started and it was good, but then I stepped away and I need to go back. And now that we're talking about this, that's what I'm gonna go do. Yeah, so I'll probably do that.
Nice.
Not an anime guy. Not an anime person.
That's
watch it.
very surprising, Bender. I feel like that's a waste of a typecast. This is an incredible letdown.
I watch. Excuse me. I watch cartoons, but not anime.
That's powerful. What are you watching? What cartoons are you watching that's not anime?
Bob's Burgers.
You know what? That actually.
Because Sam's on it. Is that why?
That works too.
Yeah, Sam Cedar's in that.
Yeah, but that's not why. In fact, I didn't start watching until recently.
Oh.
You think I would have watched it while I worked with the guy, but no.
Yeah.
Old Looney Tunes are great. That's like the height of animation to me. Like Looney Tunes from like the 30s, 40s, 50s. That's good stuff.
You
Merry
sound like a
Melody
robot.
stuff.
Am I the only one hearing that?
No,
Oh,
you're
do I
sounding.
need
Yeah.
There's a little
the
static every
audio's
now
a
and then,
little-
but it's
Alright,
like
let
every
me
second.
see.
It's every second time you talk. Like usually it's fine, then it's not. It's whatever.
Yeah.
It's not terrible,
Okay.
but it's noticeable.
Yeah, it is bearable, I will say. It's just
How's this? Is this better?
Yes.
Perfect. Cool.
Much better.
awesome.
Great.
I don't think I watch any new anime. I found like the few that I like and I rewatch them. One of my favorites being Death Parade. I think that one's a pretty good one. It's not a funny anime or any of that, but it's just one about like when you die, it's kind of being in purgatory and seeing like what kind of value your life has in the afterlife kind of thing and determining where you go. So that one's interesting. Kind of
People
sad.
asked me if you were an anime character when you first came on the show, Blair.
Oh, no, not an anime, just a pyramid.
Is this is the pyramid design an original Avatar design?
It is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you.
Very dope. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
excited to watch
if you don't
Blair's
want to
video today about
if
pink
you don't
sauce.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was interrupting.
No, Blair put out a video today on pink sauce, which is this weird ass sauce that got I think viral on TikTok. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know the details, but I'm very excited to watch that one.
Yeah, it's
Wait, what is pink sauce?
Pink sauce is like
Oh, what is pink sauce? Oh my god.
Sam,
Yeah,
please
Sam would know.
tell
You're
us,
the TikToker.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam, tell us.
Yeah,
Oh my
translate.
gosh,
TikTok.
pink sauce is this. Okay, so this lady got on TikTok and she started posting about this homemade sauce, this like all-purpose sauce, and it's weirdly pink. It looks like Pepto-Bismol, and it has like milk in it. And she's like shipping it cross country, and it's showing up not cold at all, and people are like getting sick. But then it went so ultra viral that then eventually she managed to get it shelf stable somehow. And there's like certain stores that carry it now. And I just don't understand. First of all, it doesn't even look appetizing. But second of all, like, why are you buying sauce from a stranger on the internet and you know that one of the ingredients is milk and it's just arriving in a fucking cardboard box? Like, it just
This is the most
boggles my mind. I'm
story.
like, you deserve
This is
everything
the
that's about to
Morbius of
happen to
milk.
your gastrointestinal system. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you're asking for
I
it
don't
at
get
that
it.
point if you buy that.
Oh my god. Okay, so
And also,
what
like,
is
what would you put it on?
what's the
What
actual
milk-based sauce? Oh, I wasn't about to find out. Absolutely not.
Nuggies.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
It's like
Wait, no
ketchup
one
and milk,
knows?
probably. Is that what it is?
Didn't she come back out? Didn't she come back out recently with like a new and improved, and people are getting it from her again?
Is that what you were talking about, Blair, in terms of the new one?
Yeah, so what she did in this new round was all the kind of stuff drummed up by social media. A legitimate sauce company called Dave's Gourmet ended up kind of picking up her pink sauce and essentially reworking its formula. And they are partnered with Walmart. So I believe you can actually now buy the pink sauce from Walmart and from Dave's Gourmet.
Wait,
Oh.
but what is it? Does anyone know?
It's so what I've read is people say it's kind of like a ranch consistency and taste, but like a creamy ranch with like just like a hint of maybe like some spice or honey mustard to it or something. But that's essentially kind of what it is. And then the dragon fruit kind of makes it pink, and that's like the cool
dragon fruit.
Yeah,
I missed that part of the story. Sorry, can we rerun? Like, is that a flavoring agent? Is that part of the
well
makes the sauce?
It depends when you ask her what it means, because she said she's put dragon fruit in for like multiple different reasons. The first one she said was because she likes the color pink and that it represents her bubbly personality, and that's why she put it in there. And then the second time she was asked, or a different time she was asked, she said that it was because it had certain like vitamins or antioxidants that she likes in her foods. So depending when you ask her or how you ask her depends on what kind of answer you'll get. My biggest issue with her truly is the inconsistency. I think what she drummed up through social media and the hype and everything, I say good for her, but I just think that she didn't really handle a lot of the PR stuff well, didn't really handle complaints well, and there was just a lot she could have handled better personally to make this, I think, more successful.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Get a NyQuil chicken. I'll say that.
You know, have you ever tried NyQuil chicken, Lance?
No, I haven't. I watched a video on how it
Me
kills
neither,
you.
but
the Zoomers, I tell you, they'll come up with anything. NyQuil chicken.
Kids these days.
Yeah, kids these days.
look, we had the cinnamon challenge. We were really no better.
Could that kill you though?
I don't
it was
know.
horrible.
I mean, I don't.
Well, I mean, never been a follower. I never did any of them challenges. Not one. Not planking. Not the ice challenge. Not the cinnamon. Not a nothing. Nobody's challenge. I have no desire to participate in anybody's physical activity on the blue. On the blue. What are y'all doing? You go around the place doing what? Never did. Not a one. They didn't even cross my mind. Never. I just wanted to make sure I distance myself from the rest of you profusely.
I did no challenges either. I will not be challenged.
I didn't either. I don't know. No.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. After I saw the South Park episode on cats with bread around their faces, I did take a picture of my cat with bread on her face.
That one's cute. That one's cute.
You know, that was 2012, 2013, I think. So that's like the one challenge that I did. But I don't do anything where I eat gross shit or do something stupid. Like I'm not about that. I hate that kind of stuff.
I think my favorite of the challenges, because I think they were funnier like earlier, like around that 2012 area where like people weren't so obsessively trying to go viral. I think my favorite was the can you drink a gallon of milk in under an hour?
Oh
and I like it because it reminds me of the age of the internet when like you really had to be committed to find those types of videos, and like it just there's something funny about having like someone have that commitment. Like anybody can eat a Tide Pod, right? But can you sit down and commit to trying to down a gallon of milk in an hour?
I get where you're coming from. Now it's just easy. Just take one Tide pill pod and that's it. Wait, what? Oh my god.
Yes.
That was nuts. What a weird time. The zombie videos and stuff. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, it wasn't hilarious.
My favorite challenge is the crepes. Does that look fun? That was one challenge. I was like, if I
didn't like that one. That one scared me, and I'd always be like, "Oh, you're gonna hurt yourself."
Wait,
and
I
you
love
hurt
that
yourself.
one because people got hurt.
Really?
I would never walk again though.
Hurt though. Oh,
yeah.
Oh no, that's the best part though. The best, I feel like the real fun in those challenges is like just marveling at the stupidity of that people like voluntarily advertise on the internet. There's no way anybody looks at that crate thing and thinks this is going to end well.
Well, yeah. And it didn't. Many people were hurt.
No. Yeah. Especially the ones that got tall, right? And then it buckles underneath them and they like land on their back. Ooh, reminds me of like World Star Vine comps.
Oh my god. Wow.
Did I just unlock something?
Yeah, I need to go sit down for a minute. All right. Well, changing from one clown to another, or one set of jokery to another. Someone's asking us what we think about Marjorie Taylor Greene complaining about people being rude to her in a restaurant. Have you guys heard of this story?
What does she consider rude? Because I consider being a white supremacist rude. So what did people do?
So do
to
I.
her?
Well,
wait, real quick,
Fair.
I just want to interject. Our guest is here.
Oh,
yes. Okay.
So I do want to talk about the Marjorie thing though, because I have a
Yes.
lot to say.
Okay.
But
Halt. We'll
Ole,
come
did
back.
you want to give him an introduction real quick?
Yes.
He is muted right now and off camera, so I want to make sure he's going to actually come in.
Okay.
There he is.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's here. Yeah.
All right, I think Ole's preparing.
Okay, Ole is preparing. She's going to give an amazing
well, I
intro.
mean,
Oh, are
we can talk about.
I'm preparing. I mean, getting the chocolate off my fingers.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm ready.
Bring him in.
Bring him
Yes.
in.
All right. Hello.
Hi, Fred.
Hey, Fred.
You're on mute right now.
Mute yourself.
There you go.
That would help. How's it going?
Good. I
Good.
love this lavender hat.
Yeah, it's a beat up NYU hat trying to get my money's worth.
Listen, I support this. Okay, so in the spirit of great content and informativeness and us being a place to give you serious issues, as you know, we've been talking a lot. We've been talking about all the Republican efforts and everything with book banning and basically all the censorship and everything they've been doing to prevent information and access to literally anything that's the truth, from schools, from libraries, under pretenses. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to hear from that directly from Frederick Joseph, my guy. He is a New York Times bestseller. He has several books, my favorite of which that is out now, Patriarchy Blues. I sing its praises to everybody and their mama because I personally love it. He is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to let him properly introduce you to himself, to all the work that he does as an advocate, as a writer, as a speaker, as all of the things, and also let him directly tell you what it is to be somebody who is getting their books banned, which I have told him is iconic, and nobody would be able to tell me nothing personally if my books were being banned. So, Fred.
Hey, I appreciate it. I don't know about brilliant. I'm just a guy who just talks shit and looks at things, you know what I mean, and talk shit about the things I see. But realistically, as much as I think having your book banned is a badge of honor to a certain extent, right? Because it says that you're saying the right things, right? You're combating white supremacy, combating patriarchal structures, homophobia, transphobia, et cetera, et cetera. The reality of it is, especially as a Black author specifically, only 6% of published authors are Black in the first place, right? So, like, when your books are being banned, it's not like everyone whose books are banned suddenly becomes like an international best-selling author, right? You're not suddenly becoming transphobe J.K. Rowling, level of like success or whatever. So ultimately, it's a huge punishment, and it does like actually set us up for the complete erasure of like Black stories and Black perspectives really being out there, and not just Black, just marginalized people in general, but for the most part, they are Black.
I think, like you said, and I think you actually brought this to my attention when I responded to you, and I was like, Fred, this is iconic. And you were like, yeah, it would be better if it weren't affecting my book sales, if it were doing something to improve book sales. And I think I realized that I think what happens is, especially on Twitter and in certain spaces, you see these viral tweets of the books that are getting banned, and people have this reception or this response like, oh, well, that's going to make the sales on that spike. And so I think people are like dismissive or diminished, myself included, I think can underappreciate like the significance of what that's doing, right? It's not always the viral tweet you're seeing does not mean that everybody just went out across the country and purchased these books to combat the suppression of these books. So I guess for as someone who's impacted by that, Fred, what do you think we could better be doing around this to push back?
Well, I think that people have to stop, thinking that it helps all the time, right? I'm looking at some of the comments right now, and someone just said, "Oh, well, James Baldwin is more popular now than ever." Like, yeah, but also James Baldwin is dead, right? So, like, I don't want to be a martyr when I'm in the grave. Like, oh my God, that guy who just murdered, or that guy who just died, that Black guy, he had some books. They were all banned. We should read them. Like, no, I want you to read my books while I'm here, right? I want my flowers while I'm still alive. And everybody's, I think that everybody kind of feels the same way. Even more important than that, though, is the fact that there are over, I think it was something like 900 books on the banned list in Texas alone, right? Wow. You're not reading all those books.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like every one of those authors is James Baldwin or Ibram Kendi or something like that. And all
right.
Right. Like, the reality of it is there are about 10 books that are getting a lot of notoriety around being banned. Right.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right. Like, it was interesting. There was a post on TikTok recently. Book talk is really, really racist. And there was a post on TikTok where some young white woman made a post about her older white dad and how his book had never sold. I don't know if any.
Oh, I saw that, and they all went out and bought that. I saw that as well.
His book it became the #1 book in the world, not like the #1 book like for a day on Amazon, like the #1 book sales wise in the world, right?
Yeah.
And it's not because he's some like writer who's trying to change the world or because his books are being banned. He wrote a thriller, like some one of those thriller books.
Fiction, some
Yeah, like
fiction.
it was a fiction. It was a fictional book. It was a thriller. A few years back, but he's also an attorney and they live in a massive house and he's an old white man. Why would that be the effort that
For
book
sympathy.
puts behind, right? Because as opposed to saying like, hey, there's a book by a black trans woman that's being banned everywhere. Why don't we make sure that is, this massive selling book? That it just so again, I just think people need to
Yeah.
rethink the effort and what actually happens with book bans and book support.
I think that really, speaks to privilege and who people think are supposed to be heard, right? Because for you to, like you said, there are about 6% of authors of all published books are black. So you already, how often are people even reading black books? Like I posted on a video of Toni Morrison the other day, and my followers were like, "Oh, who's this great thinker I've never heard of?" I'm like, because they're not even getting access to or privy to our greats because we're not put on the curriculum as the classics. And this one, you might get a couple of Maya Angelou book that breaks through, but yet, they see some white girl tell you, "Oh, my daddy's book didn't sell," and it's like, oh my god, they didn't read your daddy's story. that's so important that your daddy be heard. Let's rectify this at once.
That's exactly it, right? Like, and I'm even saying this, as a cis het black dude who's, I'm not like the most oppressed person in society. Like, I can only imagine what is happening to like, again, the trans black woman who can't even get like just black cis people to read her book, right? And
Yeah.
so when we see these bans happening, you legitimately are going to have a generation that already wasn't invested in black and brown stories now not even being able to access them when they do want to invest in them. It's bananas.
Someone asked in the audience, they said, "What is the name of your books that are being banned?" And I think that is a beautiful opportunity for you to tell people about your books.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so the first book, The Black Friend on Being a Better White Person, that is a young adult book. So it's primarily being banned in schools. It's been banned in every school in Mississippi. It's been banned in most schools in Texas, and now most schools in Florida. And then my second book that came out, Patriarchy Blues, the one that I deeply appreciate how much support has been given to that book. That's actually being banned in prisons around the country right now. And that's
What?
Yeah. So that's a new thing that people aren't talking about enough. So books that are aiming to strategically and thoughtfully help make people in prison, and it's primarily like men in prison, better, right? By like deconstructing and considering why they are violent, why they might be toxically masculine, why they might be womanizers, so on and so forth. They're banning those books because, I mean, we all get it. Like, I've seen what y'all talk about, right? Like, at the end of the day, these institutions benefit from keeping these people toxic so that they either stay in the system or come back to the system, because at the end of the day, the system keeps their pockets lined. So they're banning the books like mine that aim to make these people never end up in this system again.
Absolutely. I'd realized that because we're in the process of trying to send books to Rikers, and patriarchy, I'm always recommending this book, so I ran up against that, but we just figured out a way to get around it, and it's that I think we can submit them. We can do this thing through the public libraries. I'm going to figure out how we can circumvent this with a lot of the prisons and see if we can put that information out as far as the books and what's happening with that. Because Patriarchy Blues I've recommended that to so many men, it's unreal. And I'll send you sometimes how many times they message me like, "That was the most thoughtful book," or "That made me cry for real." I'm like, it really is a very, very, very meaningful read. So iconic still, but I'm very sick about it for you, Fred.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So sorry, I'm looking at the comments as people are talking. Somebody asked if by the system I mean capitalism. I mean, like, yes, capitalism, but the system is it's also whiteness, right? This like all these systems that fall under capitalism. So it's not just I talk about this in Patriarchy Blues actually, right? It's like capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy, right? So like I think oftentimes, especially in leftist spaces, people like do this thing where everyone wants to be a pseudo Karl Marx and solely talk about capitalism as this like grand lofty ideal. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't talk about capitalism and use it as like this conceptual word without very specifically talking about white supremacist capitalism, patriarchal capitalism, right? So on and so forth.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, you have another book, Fred. You got so many books. We stopped you before you get to your most recent books. You're still going. You got to keep going.
Yeah. I actually just the reason I look like crap, I just jumped on here. I'm on a writing deadline. I'm in the process of finishing up a novel right now and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Let me make sure I get these comments because I see people are very excited in the comments to have you, and they are moving. So let me make sure I get the questions. I think what have you found to be? I think I really want to know this. What has been the most like surprising thing? Like when the first time you realized one of your books was being banned, or when that happened, what was that reaction for you?
I didn't really know what it meant, right? Like you hear about like a book being banned in passing, you're just like, okay, that sucks. It's a school. But then I think I really started taking note when they started getting angry, right? I started getting death threats over my books. And I remember one specific thing that happened. A young white girl took my book out. It's actually in upstate New York. And I think again, we have to stop like framing the country through like states, like blue states, red states. No, like the whole country is a white supremacist country. But
Yes.
but nonetheless, a young white girl taking my book out in upstate New York. Her father found out and like refused to give the book back to the library so no other white kids could read it, right? And then when that made news and press that had happened, I got like 20 death threats that week, right? Like over a young adult's book. So that's when I really realized, oh, this is some shit.
Mhm.
That is, have you felt like, because I know I've had this experience, I was explaining to people as someone on like TV media, I feel like the written world is harder to get into, to say the things that we're saying now, right? Because by the time you say it in media, you've said it, they don't know what you're going to say and it comes out. But I find that it's much harder. Like it takes me a much longer time to say 1/16 at a time by the time the editors and the people that are standing in your way. Have you found that experience, and has it gotten tougher, do you think, harder or easier with all the national attention and the book bannings?
I mean, I'll keep it all the way real. Keep it very much how you be keeping it on these things, right? Like uh because of like the book bans, and I think just the national conversation or lack thereof around certain things, I like low-key regret coming out with the books that I've come out with and like writing them in certain ways, right? So you take a book like Patriarchy Blues, it's not what, like, at the end of the day, most of my followers, right? Like the fucking hundreds of thousands of people that follow me, of that, hundreds of thousands of them are white women. And white women are not like, and a lot of the readership that like these publishers try to attract are white women, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
And so Patriarchy Blues, as an example, has not sold well because of how I wrote the book and how honest I was in the book, because the book is not solely, I think somebody in the comments had asked how important it is, how important is it to kind of identify your white privilege. And I talk about that in the book, right? Like, you can't talk about patriarchy without talking about whiteness. You can't talk about patriarchy without talking about it being upheld by like toxic white feminism and the history of toxic white feminism, how feminism as a contemporary movement came out of racism from Black people getting rights and so on and so forth. So all that to say, it deeply affects the writing because you feel like you have to write different to pay your bills.
Yeah. Toni Morrison talked about that a lot, right? Because she was like, she never liked authors or Black writers who she felt like they were talking past her. They were talking to white audiences, and she wanted to write where she was having these conversations directly with her Black readers. And that's exactly how Patriarchy Blues is. Patriarchy Blues feels like you are sitting there, I am reading your journal, and we are having like a really deep, intimate conversation. And I guess it's hard because, like you said, you don't want to be, we know these greats and we appreciate them in our community. Like, we know Zora Neale Hurston. We know that's one of the most prolific writers of our time. And Zora Neale Hurston was penniless most of her entire life. And so you don't want that to be you, because it shouldn't have to be, modern day, struggling, and poverty should not be a reflection of how well our product is. But do you think, I ask you this, if you could go back in time before, as you were writing, as you sat down to write Patriarchy Blues, would you write it differently? Would you write it writing past and to the white audience, the white
I mean, nah, like, 'cause
that's
not who I am, right?
I knew it.
I was gonna ask if there could be like an entry level one for fragility levels, where
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean,
this is the primer.
the funny thing about that, like the entry level for fragility is like, no matter what a black person says, like, white people are fragile about it, right? So it doesn't ultimately matter. I could have literally been
It's
like,
true.
I could, like, even like, just as an example, like my most recent book is a picture book for Black Panther 2. And when I was in Florida promoting the book, someone came into where I was, opened it up, closed it, and they were like, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't CRT. It's a fucking picture book for Black Panther 2, for the most capitalist company, the most like it's Disney. What do you think Disney is going to let me put? What do you think I'm going to be in there talking about? You think I wrote a Black Panther book in which a kid opens it and it says every white person is a heathen? What do you
I'm curious, Fred, long-term wise, where do you think this is going to lead? Because book bans are not a new phenomenon, obviously, in the United States. Do you think that this is just like another wave of many, or do you think that this is one portion of a bigger move towards fascism? Because this comes in tandem with other types of bans, the don't say gay law in Florida. There's a bunch of proposals. I don't know how many will pass in Florida in particular, like banning the Democratic Party, for example. Like, long term, where do you think this is going to lead? Is it eventually going to get better, or are we kind of just headed towards the cliff, like, in your opinion?
I mean, I think that you hit the nail on the head with the word fascism, right? Anyone who understands history knows that it always starts with banning of ideologies. It always starts with banning of perspective, right? Like, I have said, and people think that I'm exaggerating this. I'm like, Ron DeSantis, as an example, right, as one of the premier faces of the Republican Party, and quite frankly, the premier face of politics in this nation, because the Biden administration really doesn't have any moral fortitude to do anything that's necessary right now, or say the things that are necessary about any things that are happening. So Ron DeSantis basically is the president at this moment. And from my perspective, this is just the beginning, right? Because, like you mentioned, the bills against identities in Florida. You mentioned certain other bills. I mean, just on a baseline, it is about to become, or it might have been passed already, a felony to teach certain things in schools in Florida, right? And this is a testing ground. This is not like, oh my God, well, let's just, that stupid meme where it's like cutting Florida off of the United States. I'm like, no, Florida is the United States. Florida is going to become the United States. You have someone who shares many of the same ideologies as the governor of Florida, as mayor of what is supposed to be one of the two most liberal cities in this country, in New York City, right? We have a police state in New York City. We have book bans, ideology and identity bans in Florida. You got book bans and the same nonsense in Texas. We are plunging quickly into becoming a neo-fascist state.
Yeah, well, so that's what scares me, because like, there's been a lot of media coverage about the book bans, but I feel like normie people, for lack of a better word, just they don't understand the severity of this. They don't understand that having to get books approved to be in school libraries, that is serious. Like, this is pre-Nazi Germany shit that people just kind of don't think about. They just see another article or a headline and they say, oh, well, that's DeSantis, I hate him, and then they go on with their day. They don't understand that, like, what we're seeing is the desantification of the GOP, where other states are replicating that. We see other countries and far right parties in control emulating Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis. And so, like, we're seeing like the emergence of an international fascist movement, and we're all kind of just like sitting on our hands saying, man, that sure is disappointing. I hate Ron DeSantis. Vote him out next time. I don't think people are taking this seriously.
No, they're sorry, you were gonna say something?
No.
No, I was gonna say no. They're not taking it seriously, and I mentioned the Biden administration, and I do blame a great deal of this on them. And I know a lot of like liberals wouldn't want to hear that, but the reality of it is that any presidential administration kind of sets the tone of its base, right? And the tone of its base and the most active people, for the most part, are like black and brown people, obviously coming out to vote, but the people who have privilege, money, access, resources are these like suburban white moms, right? Like these white families, and they haven't kind of like been giving marching orders or given marching orders from the administration to say like, hey, these are the things happening right now, and these are the things we need to be combating, right? The reason why you're having what you're having on a hyper local level is like Moms for Liberty, as an example, right? Moms for Liberty saw like, hey, there is a gap that we can fill in on school boards, local elections like city council, so on and so forth, and things of that nature. So we're going to fill that gap strategically over the next few years, and they have done so very successfully. And there's not countermeasures that are being like kind of passed down, trickled down from the top, right? And you know, again, I know this for some people probably sounds like a lot, but you're right. We right now are in this moment that is like what they were in right before Nazi Germany. Like, it's not an exaggeration. And I don't think that people get that. They have like voting patrols, like militias in Florida going around and like arresting people who supposedly weren't supposed to vote, who thought that they could legally vote, right? Like, I don't think people get it.
I think that's the double-edged sword with or being a marginalized group, right? Is like if they already the mainstream, the status quo that we exist in is the fact that they already barely see black authors, they already barely see trans authors, they already barely see these things. They're kept out of the mainstream, so they can't even feel for real. They don't feel the squeeze of those things being completely removed from the space because they were never really interacting with it, so they can't feel the weight of that loss. You know what I mean? Or the what that impact is, right? Like they can't feel what the very few amount of black authors that have been able to get into a space. The fact that you name everyone knows James Baldwin because his quotes are everywhere, and they don't get one what that means and how hard it was and the significant impact and the loss of even that limited bit of representation, or what could be if you were actually had more access to this on a much larger scale. And it's unfortunate. That's how it hurts you twice, right? You're already the marginalized group, and because you're already marginalized, no one felt it. They're not up on arms, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. And you know, I don't know what kind of time y'all be on here, but I just saw somebody say that we need militias of our own and things like that. You know, I want to respond to that. Again, I don't want y'all to get like in trouble or anything like that. I don't know what kind of time y'all be on about certain things, but I'm just say like this. You know, everybody gotta do. Don't come knocking at my door. You got the wrong, not over there, not on this side.
Hey, it's my favorite clip online where it's like they're showing them and they're like, I'm not gonna lie, it concerns me a little bit, but I stay strapped too. Come around here, you will get clapped.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like if we keep it all the way a buck for a second, you got me after 9 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna just you don't have the more whatever, but if we keeping it all the way a buck, you know, even with like the insurrection, like I feel like all of us were online as that was happening, like shoot them.
Hey, I have said on this show that I would have let the chopper sing. I said I don't let the chopper sing.
If Biden, let's say Biden was inaugurated by that time, and I don't really care about him, but if let's say they was like, hey, legally anybody who voted for a Democrat or something can go down there and let that thing let off, right? I'm like, ooh, I played bad Call of Duty back in the day. Let's get it. You know, like, and I think the things like that, if man, like, I think that one woman got killed, right? She got like shot, you know, that one woman, we're charging in, and she got shot in the head immediately, whatever. But like, if man wait, that's one of my favorite moments ever in history. But I was going to say, Oh God. Anyway, I was gonna say, if we would have
Mhm.
watched like a bloodbath that day, like the insurrection, I promise you, all these people who were going up to like, like the days where they're like, I forget what they're called, like the trans women who were like reading to kids and things like that, and like all the Proud Boys, you would see nary a Proud Boy running around the streets as they are right now if they would have saw 90 of them get their heads blown off at the insurrection.
No
Right?
facts. No facts. You know what I would have done? Theoretically, this is why I let the record reflect. I don't have any intentions of getting into politics. I know what kind of people should be leaders, and it shouldn't be me. But if it were me and they stormed the Capitol, I'd have cut the lights. Like I'd have cut all the cameras. No journalists or nothing. No one would have known. And no one was not going to be reported to the nation. The only report you would have heard that there was a convoy headed to the Capitol and storming. Then you would have heard nothing, and they'd have just never returned to their families. Nothing. I'd say nothing. They'd just disappear. I would just disappear every trace of the government. Nothing. And then they would all just be there like conspiracy, searching for your loved ones.
That would have been
never come. Like
I would have like built like an entire apparatus around them very quickly and turned the whole bitch into Hunger Games very quickly. like everybody who was at the insurrection, I would have built mad walls, like maybe like 10 blocks away. Almost everybody who was cool, like, oh, you cool, you can leave, and like thousands of them would have just been in the Hunger Games, like all of a sudden.
No, I just y'all don't know the kind of leadership I'd be on. Listen, every time I told my friend once what I'd give it up if I had true powership, and he was like, "If you ever even look too close to power, I love you, and I'm gonna take you out the game." And I was like, "Yeah, it's crazy how you don't want to see me do what I need to do to get us to the promised land." Joking, kidding, U.S. government. I support you in all your choices.
May I?
Am
I allowed to respond to something?
Yes.
Like I'm just reading the comments, and I just find this really interesting. So there's this there's this respectability and this like tone policing that I'm just like, kind of watching happening in the comments, right? Like people like, if you condone violence and the things you're saying, and I'm like, as a Black person, there's no one except for maybe people who are indigenous to this land have received more violence in this nation, right? Like even like your comments right now that you're making are actually emotional and mental violence towards Black people who are actively talking about white supremacists who tried to overthrow the country in the name of like being able to murder
violently.
Yeah, like overthrow the U.S. government.
Right? Like
they only start talking about that once they're talking to Black people. That's my very first piece on Alertnati is called America's Hypocrisy on Violence, the Case of Police Brutality. America loves violence. America has been at war for most of the country's history. They love violence. They love military, guns, weapons, all of this. There is nothing else. There is nothing that white people face or anything that the immediate response isn't violence. The minute Ukrainian citizens took up arms in their yards, everyone was like, woo! Yes, clapping on for that on Twitter. You understand that in every context. But the minute if we're talking about Black people, all of a sudden, or how you handle things is, oh, we are so against violence. No, not like that. Peaceful.
I mean, that's 1,000%, and I think that the example of Ukraine is a prime example. I mean, I saw the most like neoliberal people as soon as everything went down, being like, we should nuke Russia. I'm like, whoa. What are you actually talking about? Or like, I've seen people like kind of the same people in these comments, like, oh, we need to grab some of these Russians and lynch them in the middle. I'm like, yeah, y'all are not much different from the people who were lynching Black and brown people, primarily Black people, and putting it on postcards and sending it to family members not even 50 years ago. So, I don't know, like save all the tone policing in the comments for somebody else. The reality of it is that we are making jokes about what could have happened, but what didn't happen was that. Why? Because at the end of the day, whiteness gets to do whatever it wants in this nation. So you're going to tone police me, who had to watch somebody try to overthrow the entire government and then go around harassing and trying to decimate my people. Like, yeah, miss me with that one.
Listen, okay, I love it here, Fred. Oh, company. Yes, no, absolutely. What is if there's anything we haven't touched on, Fred, what do you want to tell the people before you get out of here tonight?
Before I dip, I want to say Don't support the Oscars. What else? You should all watch Exterminate the Brutes by Raoul Peck. Those of you, especially those talking about violence, you'll have a better understanding of how the racial construct was invented for capitalistic purposes, but also a really good lens into how depraved and violent people were and have been and still are to keep this country running as it does. So, those are the two things I'll say. Raoul Peck, Exterminate All the Brutes, don't watch the Oscars.
Give these people all your socials, Fred. You churn out the best content. Please give them your socials so they can find you.
Yeah, some of you can follow me. The ones that I'm at Fred T. Joseph. I'm primarily on Instagram and Twitter. I'll be messing around with TikTok now. But yeah, if you were talking all that, don't be violent, please don't follow me. I don't have time for that. I have enough.
Thank you so much, Fred. And we have to kick it soon.
Absolutely.
About your book on Amazon right now, so I look forward to reading it.
If
I'm gonna check it out too.
Yeah, if any
And
of
it's
you
up in
read
Cherokee
it,
Blues.
yeah, if any of you read it, I would love to come back and us like chat about toxic masculinity, things like that, as an informed group and whatnot. So
That'd be great.
Thank you, Fred.
All right.
Thank you so much.
See you.
I have such cool people I know. Y'all
That
are
was
welcome.
great.
Okay, y'all
I
take
had
over.
fun.
I like the I like the visual I now have of Ole going Judge Dredd in the Capitol building. Lights off, her going through all the floors, through the house, taking them all out.
It's my literal listen. If you hear my fantasies that I live the world, my friends actually know the story. They're like, "Oh, you've heard the stupid story in the wooden chair," and they're like, "Oh, one time I'm drunk, but this is actually my dream. I want to just float. I want to be able to float above the world, like in a little wooden chair. Like I just want to sit in one little wooden chair. I want to be able to float above everybody, like where everybody could see me and hear me. Somehow I'm omniscient, like where everybody can hear me, and I just want to float around like the sun, like where somehow everyone can see me wherever they are, talking shit, just just all around, floating around the place. That and wiping people out in the dead of night that need to go. That's my two. That's the kind of leadership I'm looking for, and that's why it's important to stay in one's lane, and I don't go into politics. But that's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah, that's a real dream. Unlike grandma's pubes, that's a good dream.
Also, I have to be clear. I have to be clear. Someone just said something about Stallone. I am not talking about Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd. Please see the 2012 Dredd, where who played him in that one? Have you guys saw that one? That
It was
really
the
good.
guy from Altered Carbon, right?
Carl Urban. Carl Urban.
Oh, I was wrong. Fuck.
It's like that movie. Oh my god, I'm having
Thinking
a
of RoboCop, Mike. I think that's what you're thinking about.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's like he literally goes through these floors of a apartment a huge like futuristic apartment complex where there's like some mafia running the show there, and he's going through all the floors, taking out all these different guys. It's a crazy movie. Definitely watch that one, not the Stallone one.
And Carl Urban is he is in The Boys, which is a fantastic series. If you have not seen The Boys, great show.
Yeah,
But
highly recommend.
I dig.
Yeah, did you all want to touch back to or circle back around to the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing?
Yeah, let's
Is
answer that
everyone
Marjorie
familiar
Taylor
with the
question.
story?
No, tell us.
So basically, Marjorie Taylor Greene, before she was a member of Congress, she harassed David Hogg with a camera in the streets, asking him why he wants to ban the Second Amendment. She and a bunch of her friends were basically taunting AOC at her office. But now when she gets elected, well, she gets a taste of her own medicine. And this woman, along with her adult son, apparently accosted Marjorie Taylor Greene in a restaurant in D.C., and she is not happy about it, not pointing out the hypocrisy that she did the very same thing. And what was really funny is that David Hogg, he responded to that saying, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The same thing happened to me where this unhinged, insane lady approached me named Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it was completely ridiculous. and she's basically being paraded around now as some sort of a right wing but white martyr too. But she went on Hannity and he talked about or he let her explain how this is just so horrible and what happened to civility, and all of this is happening knowing that she did the same fucking thing, which is insane to me. And so one thing that I was talking about on my Twitch stream last night, which I had to put on private because I memed a little bit too close to the sun, is like I think that I'll explain. I think that accosting politicians or like confronting politicians more specifically in public is a good thing. They're public servants. They're there to serve you. I'm consistent, even though I don't like, when it happens to politicians I support. I mean, if you're a public servant, you serve the public. It's just kind of part of the job, right? Not private citizens like David Hogg, but public servants. And so my question is like, what would you do in the event you saw a politician in public? Would you confront them? And for me, I came to the conclusion that like if I was in a restaurant and I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think the best thing that I could do was fart on her plate. Because if you try to bring her substance and you ask her, hey, why are you supporting X, Y, and Z bills? She's just going to start foaming at the mouth and shitting herself. So the only way that you can make an impact and let these politicians know that you don't like them is if you do something as gross as their behavior is. So I think the most effective thing would be to just like straight up jump and fart right in our plate and then run away. But I want to know what you all would do in that situation. That's my very mature.
I will say that I know that I wouldn't fart in her plate.
Well, I mean,
that is something I've not heard of before, though.
It's
definitely
creative, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I would shit myself if I had to. I would make sure I was able to fart. I just feel like that would be the most profound way to leave a lasting mark on her. Because how would she imagine the tweet afterwards? This crazy unhinged leftist, he farted in my plate. I can't believe I want to see what happens afterwards specifically.
I don't even care about them people. Honestly, if I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene in an establishment, I would look at her stink the way I look at the police when I see them in the bodega. And I would keep it pushing. Honestly, I think the best you could do for people like that is make them feel unimportant, one. And two, largely they are. All she is a symbolic figurehead for white supremacists, right? They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Fuck Marjorie. So I honestly wouldn't say nothing to apply for this white lady to get me locked up. Now I'm in central booking, like, oh, I had to mouth off to Marjorie. Now I got court for a year.
Yeah.
That's like, fuck you, Marjorie.
I think the problem with this stuff is that the hypocrisy is not just that Marjorie Taylor Greene did what she then, complains about. It's that politicians actually don't care about being harassed because being harassed means you get headlines. So the only interest I have in speaking with politicians is an environment where they have no media power, like a private meeting, right? Like other than that, there's no public forum in which communicating non-verbally or otherwise with anyone that I disagree with has any function other than to be slightly cathartic. But I could just tell them to go fuck themselves on the internet. And to your point, Olayemi, I feel the exact same way about the police in New York, right? I don't have to tell them to go to hell for them to know that I hate them, right? And I think that there's almost this, because I don't, maybe I'm the weird one, but I don't get the catharsis from yelling at a politician to go fuck themselves. I just don't, it doesn't make me feel better.
We just had someone say he would fart in her plate. So definitely not the weird one.
Oh no! He said how Mike described it.
Oh, Mike's not even here. Sounds like I'm dissing him and he's not even here. Now I feel bad.
I pictured it when Goofy jumps up and claps his feet together. That's how I pictured it when he said he would jump up and fart in a plate. That was like, why is Mike cartoon acting like a cartoon character? Oh, yeah, no, it's not you. It's definitely Mike. It's not you. It's Mike.
I don't mind when they're made to feel uncomfortable in public. I just don't. It's not something that I feel like I need to do myself. And especially for the people on the right specifically, they, as you said, they love that attention. They utilize moments like that to specifically, they look forward to shit like that. Yeah, so exactly. When someone on the left gets harassed over some shit that they didn't even do, some made up, usually say Bernie Sanders gets harassed for some shit he didn't do. That's it's unfortunate, it's stupid, but it happens. You're a public figure, it's gonna happen. But and he's not
also,
going to use that,
you know, I think
for media attention. He doesn't care.
I think it's
yeah, and
worth
a perfect example actually is. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think a perfect example is actually what happened when people protested outside of Kavanaugh's house. Now, if we talk about that in isolation, right, in a vacuum, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with it. No one was being violent, like, and also like he's a public figure. Like, I don't have a problem with it in that capacity. But from a political strategy perspective, it wasn't particularly bright because all that it did was give them justification to ramp up the degree to which you cannot legally engage with Supreme Court justices, right? And like the system has a power to reinforce itself when, and that's why this whole like, they go low, we go lower thing, like it doesn't work. It does that you can't, is it Audre Lorde who talks about like, you can't use the tools of the oppressor, and like there's a philosophical argument there, and there's a like very meta morality component to that, but there's also a practical one, right? Like it doesn't work. The people that I mean, just think about last example, and then I'll get off my like Apple box. But like, I think voter outreach is a really good example of how we can't do the things that they do because we're not trying to energize the same people. Like, they just get to say, oh, look, there's a black boogeyman and woke moralists are taking over your cities and shit like that. And that works for them. You can't walk into a community of disenfranchised voters and be like, ooh, there's a scary monster out there. They're like, yeah, absolutely. I see them all the time. Like it's not the motivations aren't the same,
I agree. Me and my mentor talk about this often, and I'm not going to get into the whole larger conversation here, but I think when you think about it, he said like one of the things he thinks our progressive movements make us at a disadvantage is that white liberals are at the forefront of that. And I mean that in the sense of what they think is effective, right? Like I agree. I think like I don't believe in the respectability politics, the idea that there's certain places that are off limits to protest these people. No, not at all. I don't believe, fuck them. You should be able to do that. But I think in terms of effectiveness, I don't think it does anything, which is what I think is true about a lot of these performative white liberal decisions, right? That no one, like the organizers in the ground, though you hear about those things real often, but those are never really the crux of the majority of what people that are protesting are doing. But you hear about those particular initiatives because they're very, white liberal led initiatives, and I think they don't really speak to the reality. I think they're always very like, oh, people will be moved. Your oppressors will be moved with their consciousness. They will see how you feel and you are upset at the house, and it doesn't really take into the larger honest. And I think it's because there's so much similarity and so much overlap between those groups. Why you can't come to terms with the fact that they don't give a fuck. They know. You know what I mean? They know, they fully understand it does not matter to them. And I think a lot of the times, like I said, I think we make on both sides, the right does it and the left do it. But sometimes we make the villains we most fear by giving them and feeding them attention and so much of that. I think when you do with the Marjories, when you do with all of these people, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a moment, something that makes them something to be talked about. They want to be infamous. They don't care really what it looks like. And so when you mess them up, that's how they go. That's why, random unpopular opinion that I swear ties in. That's how come, and I'm sure y'all aren't going to agree with me, but I know everybody was tight at how Cersei died at the end of Game of Thrones. But I was always like, I love that because that's how you really hurt somebody that really feels like they are so important in the main character, main villain, is to give them not the fanfare you think they deserve. You know what I mean? Make it really lackluster. I was like, that fucking bitch wish she got a monologue off, but no, they killed her in the rubble. Like they didn't even off screen. The disrespect. To me, that's how you really show a Marjorie and them, is to pay them dust. Like when I see NYPD in the bodega and they trying to make their presence known or hail people or try to chop it up, and everyone's kind of like, and you could feel their discomfort at not being liked, at not being wanted. And it's like, good. I'm glad you feel that way. I hope you feel uncomfortable and like I hate you, because I do. I saw somebody in the comments say spoilers. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones yet, you need to do better. And also that last season was trash. So you're fine. You'll be okay.
Yeah, wait.
You'll be
and allow me, as you were talking, somebody said, y'all are talking like a bunch of people who want to continue to lose. And I think that is the perfect example of exactly the response to a both and argument that is so like punitive and childish, because no one's saying, like, to your point, Alimi, like you're not saying like, oh, you shouldn't be allowed to do this. But being allowed and what the strategy is two fundamentally different things, not to mention the fact that I think there's a bravado and like a selfishness and narcissism of a lot of especially white people who feel like their protesting is going to do something.
Yeah.
But if you're not being strategic, like I don't want a fucking, generationally wealthy white person like putting up a sign in the streets and like feeling like they're getting their rocks off while they're marching. I want you to fucking put up in the ways that you can, right? And this idea, so I don't mean, but like that comment is just so silly, right? Like you're talking like people who want to continue to lose. Well, what the fuck are you doing? Number one, right? And number two, if we're not going to have a conversation about strategy, like that's the uncomfortable conversation. Like these days, it's not that uncomfortable anymore to talk about white privilege. It's not that uncomfortable anymore to talk about racism, and those words have entered the cultural jargon and zeitgeist in like a very casual way. But it's still very unpopular to have conversations about like, okay, what would actually work and what is a reasonable expectation that we can set with a reasonable probability of success, and then how do we measure that?
And
right? So that
who
we can
we should listen
change.
to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And who we should and who we should listen to in certain roles. I think people aren't prepared. They take it as a stamp of importance, right? If you say that white liberals should not be the center of the conversation, or they should not be leading these movements, they take it as like, oh, you don't appreciate my presence here as much, or I'm not valued as much, because they're not comfortable with what it means to not be centered. But it really is a matter truly of effectiveness, because it's a matter of, if you know me, the person who has to navigate me as a friend, right, is going to be better able to do that, right, than the person who knows me casually on the corner. In the same way, it's like, people say, oh, there's a way that Black people know the police as an institution, and there's a way that you know the police, white person, as people in your friends and families and in your community. And if you have to navigate someone as your oppressor, the people who are going to be best able to tell you what is effective on them, how they work in that role, are the people that they oppress. And that's a problem sometimes. It's like white liberals want to center themselves in the movement. They want to come up with what they think is effective based on dealing with themselves. They think from the perspective of the white liberal that did feel sympathetic, or can be moved, or that can be changed. And they're like, let's appeal to my heart. Let's appeal to my emotions when we're telling you, hey. It's deeper than that, actually. There's a different kind of way that they're dealing with you. You might want to take off your little friend hat with how you want to go about that. That's not so effective. We might want to deal with this from the pockets. And I have this conversation as a movement attorney. That's what I do. I'm helping with, different movements, different organizations. How can you do your messaging? And they'll be like, oh, let's talk about solitary confinement from the perspective of how people feel. And I'm like, yo, they really want to give you, let's paint the picture of what it's like to be there. And I'm like, they know what it is. They don't care. That's not what it is. Let's talk about it from the angle of how much it's costing. Let's talk about how much it's going to cost. It costs the country, the state, to continue this practice, and this and the next thing, as opposed to these things. Have an honest conversation about not everybody's gonna be moved by heart. And I think that's something that's left out of conversations with strategy. And you see it across the board in the different ways that are I like to call it the nonprofit industrial complex functions. Because I once had an attorney. He asked me to second see this case, a white man. And then he was complaining about the fact that the attorney, the client, listened to me more than him, even though he's the more senior attorney or whatever it is. And he's like, they only listen. It's just because I'm Black, and that was how he dismissed it. And it's like, well, that actually has a material impact on this situation, right? Like, if my client and I are similar, my client feels understood here, we have a better rapport. That is central to my client believing in me and listening to what I have to say, what my legal advice is, what they're going to do there. It's not something that can be insignificantly dismissed. As much as you might not think it should matter, it does. And so it will impact what happens, because if the client doesn't trust you, you don't bother to form a relationship with the client. Y'all don't speak the same language. They don't understand you. They never hear from you. When you show up talking about take this plea, they're not going to trust you. So then now they go to trial on something they shouldn't go to trial, and not in jail for 25 years when maybe they could have been out in 3. So it does have a material impact. And I think that same thing translates to our larger political strategy of like, all right, we're letting white liberals and we're letting certain groups that are not the marginalized people take control of how we go about politics, advocacy, and but in reality, they're not the ones best apt to do it, I think. Oh, and I know Sam has to get out of here soon, so let's go.
Well, I was going to say one quick thing. Everyone changes their strategy based on who they're talking to, right? Like right now, this is the Leftist Mafia. We're just having a time. I mean a good time. Like we're just having a great time. So obviously we're having fun. We're going to talk about it this way. It's not going to be like we're not all sitting here like, all right, so who is doing direct action? Who tomorrow is going to be going to this LGBTQ plus protest? Who's going to be doing this? It's like we're just going through everything that happened the week and having fun and that kind of stuff, right? But like you'll see every single one of the people up here right now in different settings, obviously completely change the way they strategize and speak and communicate because that's so important, and they all know that, right? Like if you're on the Breakfast Club, it's obviously going to be, hey, I want to get down to the brass tacks. Here's the points. Here's the prison industrial complex. Here's what you need to know. Everyone at home, here's how you can help. That's it, right? It's not like, hey, let's all have a fucking great ass time on the internet for a little bit.
Exactly. Sam, I know you got to get out of here soon. Did you anything you wanted to say before I let you go? Impart some wisdom on the people and remind them where they can follow you.
I appreciate it. Hey, I was just happy to join. This was great. I would love to come back sometime. And I follow a bunch of y'all on the interwebs, and I appreciate the work that y'all do. For those out there watching, you can catch me at Sam Whiteout basically everywhere. I work with brands and nonprofits and kids and organizations trying to find my lane and stick to it and do something that can be helpful. So anyways, thanks so much for having me, and I hope to chat with y'all again soon.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
I'm following you right now.
Yeah, following now as well.
I'm following as well. Yep.
Yay, we love this. I'm sitting back in my chair. Those are my contributions.
So,
and now things get crazy.
For some levity, I do have some clips. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to, get into the weird shit, stupid shit.
I'm always ready for the weird shit. I live for the weird shit, David.
Because they're because the CPAC is today. So we all know there's some
so boring.
We all know there's some dipshits. Luckily, these clips are like they're not like long clips. We're talking like 16 seconds. Here's the first one's like a 30-second one. So just some quick examples of some dipshits here. I don't even know who this lady is, but let's just.
She looks like a Peggy. We'll call her Peggy.
Looks like a Peggy.
Miss Peggy.
Yeah, she could be. That could be a Peggy for sure.
Sean, has anybody watched the Academy Awards or Super Bowl halftime lately? Or did you keep your children away from it because it was beneath dignity? It was not what God had in mind when he created us in his image.
What?
Okay.
What does that even mean?
I haven't watched half of these, so these are like new to me. That one's ridiculous completely. Let's see what else we got here.
Yeah, what is that even supposed to mean?
God created people ass naked. Like according to the story, like even if you just take it at face value, according to your ass naked, running around ass naked,
incest.
So we should
incest forever.
Like that's what they did. Ass naked, fucking in the grass, eating fruit. That was God's image. Like, come on, bro. Okay.
Shitting in a hole in the ground.
Yes.
Here we go. Senator Tommy Tuberville. Good old Tommy Tuberville.
And I want them to have what we've had the opportunity to have, but today they're being indoctrinated in education. All this woke, transgender athletes, CRT, 1619. We don't teach reading, writing, and arithmetic anymore. Half the
Everyone's
kids
asking, can you turn it up, David?
when they graduate.
Sorry?
Oh, my chat's asking, can you turn it up? They're like,
It is on max. And I'm doing what I can in the tab here, but
Think about this. Half the kids in this country, when they graduate, can't read their diploma. Now, if you can't read, if you can't read in the United States, you're not taught to read, you can imagine what
Citation, please.
can't read their diploma. All right. What the hell?
What the fuck is he
I'm gonna
talking?
need a
That was
citation.
like a fucking buzzword bingo where he hit all of them. CRT, 1619, woke, transgenderism. It's always transgenderism, by the way. That's how they say it. Or the transgenders, but like every bingo.
Or as Aiden Ross says, I heard this today, transferring. That's what he calls
What?
That's new to me. He's
that guy
transferring.
is such a fucking moron. Jesus.
That's the dude who didn't know what fascism was, right?
He called it fascist. He saw the word fascist and read it as fascist. It was just
I'll be honest with you. If we're doing like a little Aiden Ross, like I don't know, freeze lock or something, it's been ridiculous to watch how fast he's descended into like how do you keep doing this? It's like
He's-
you're one day
yeah.
it's like you're showing your audience porn, and then the next day you're platforming a neo-Nazi, and then the day after that it's like something
He's trying
worse.
very hard to find an audience now. I mean, the first time I heard about him, actually, it was with Matt
No,
Bender.
he
'cause
has an audience. He has like 60,000.
You did a story, Bender, where he was scamming people with like he had some shitcoin thing that he had pushed on people.
Oh
Like,
right,
that's
he
when I
was
first-
he got paid by a company. He got paid by somebody
Yeah.
to live on his stream and purchase a shitcoin called MILF token.
What?
And
MILF token. Wow.
yes, and he showed people how to buy it, and promoted it during the stream, and then a few days later, I don't want to put a date on it, either a few days later or maybe a few weeks or maybe even a few months later, but the point is, a little bit later he came out on his stream and told his audience, I hope none of you actually bought that shit, even though he promoted it in a prior stream. Yeah.
Admitting he did it to make money, right? Like he's just,
Yes, and then he did it because he got a bag. He said.
Or rug pull.
Yeah.
Don't they feel bad? I mean, Jesus Christ, like taking advantage of the people who made you who you are. That's so wrong.
And not even just that, he maintained and grew his audience. Like, how do you grow your audience after fucking people after selling them on some shit you knew was garbage for cash?
Well, if they're
and you continue
children,
getting
they're
popular?
gullible enough.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, Blair's right.
It's
And isn't that the whole issue with him showing porn on a live stream? Was I think I watched a video or a TikTok or something about it, and in the chat or something, he was asking how old people were, and like a lot of them said they were underage, and then he still went and showed the explicit material anyway or some shit like that.
It's just
Wow.
so fucked up. So fucked. This is a person who was criticizing like women being in the hot tubs on Twitch all the time. It was kind of like,
Yes.
well, they're trying to this is degenerate. Young men could see their boobies. What if this happens? And then all of a sudden it's like you're just straight up unconsensually showing porn to like 60,000 people. Maybe like 10,000 of them could be teenagers. Who knows? But like that's fucked up.
What's even the point of streaming porn? Like, what was his rationale? Just to be edgy? Like, I don't even understand why.
Yeah,
he did
his
that.
buddy,
he's trying to get attention.
His
is what he's
buddies.
trying to do.
David's right.
It's
Context doesn't matter. He's right.
Right. Here's another. This is actually kind of funny because it doesn't really make any sense.
Why don't you talk a little bit about in the United States Senate? How are you pushing back? How is the Senate and how are Republicans on Capitol Hill pushing back against the Biden administration and their policies?
Well, every day is something new.
Yeah.
They're coming after family. They want to divide family. They don't want any gender. They want one gender. They
What?
want to
What?
attack everything that we've done over
One
the
gender
years.
to
I just
rule
gotta
them
pause
all.
for they want
Wait,
one
Highlander gender. All right, I'm here for it.
That's all we get.
Which gender?
One.
Which one?
Only one gender to rule them all. Which
And they're
gender?
dividing
At
families?
least get the talking point straight, dude. Like this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Years and go by their ideology. And they know, the left knows, especially the far left, the progressives, the crazies, they know that if they can get to our young kids, then it will change everything just in a short period of time. And they've been able to do that. And I heard.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, but if I were really, really drunk, I could still recite their talking points far better than he could. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
He didn't even brush up 5 minutes before going on stage. He's just like trying to do the thing, and he's doing it very poorly. It's embarrassing, honestly. Like they have to have this shit down, because what is what is one gender mean? Like which
Yes,
gender is the
one
Biden administration
gender.
choosing?
I want one gender.
Maybe we're scrapping the male female type masculine feminine genders, and we're just doing robot gender. That way everybody, we're all equal here. So everybody has to be robot gender. You paint your face gray and you talk like this. That's what the Democratic Party is going with. That's their, I guess, compromise in lieu of gender abolition. That's what they're pushing.
This is some fun right wing on right wing action we got right here. So apparently, here's a police officer outside the Ron DeSantis book event in Leesburg, Florida, was told to remove anyone wearing Trump from the line.
And that's Laura Loomer, by the way.
Oh yeah, that is.
Yep.
Oh, this is super low volume. Let me see if I can turn this.
It gets a little bit louder towards like the middle.
Because of what you're wearing?
Because they told me to say anybody wearing Trump has to go right now.
All right, we should put
During the sign.
free speech.
During the sign.
Free
Okay,
speech.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to call LPD now.
That's fine. There you go. That's all right.
This is great.
So yeah, that's gonna be that's one that Trump should hold on to. Like if you know, because it's not showing DeSantis in a good light. I don't think for their
You treated my supporters very unfairly. They were very unkind to them. Like I love to see the fascist on fascist violence like this because it's so cathartic to see them get the shit back that they put out into the world. I don't know if any of you remember this, but during the 2016 Republican primary, one of Trump's supporters was addressed by Ted Cruz. I think he heckled Ted Cruz. So Ted Cruz tried to talk to this Trump supporter to, I guess, reason with him. And the whole time, regardless of what Ted was saying, he just kept screaming, lying Ted, fake news, you're lying Ted. And like Ted Cruz tried so hard to reason with him. He's like, listen, he says that he wants to kill the families of ISIS. And he just, no, you're lying Ted. And I love it because this is the same people who they court. So when it gets turned back on them, when they realize that like this is the bed that they've lied in, like it's really beautiful to see. So I hope we get that with DeSantis bearing the brunt of all of the craziness of Trump's supporters. That would be really great to see. It'd make the GOP primaries a lot more enjoyable than they're already going to be.
You guys sound a little like robots. Is that just me, or is it sounding? Is it just on my end?
Just you. I
think it's just you. Everyone sounds good to me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we're all sounded.
I'm not
fabulous.
sure what you're talking about.
All right.
I only got one more clip here, and it's just I actually haven't watched this, but I heard it's well, it is how it's described.
Oh boy.
This is Fox News in a Florida diner, and
I
apparently
saw this one.
cannot find a DeSantis supporter. So,
Hi, Lawrence. First off, Metro Diner here. I got a question for you. Ready?
Hold on, just press pause for a second. I love the setup here. Like, obviously, they just walked into a diner completely off the cuff, and people are just going about their morning like they always do, circling around the outside of the dining area. What are all those people doing lined up at that wall? Very bizarre.
Standing room in this diner.
I mean, it's
standing room.
yeah, very clear that they made it at the very least an announcement that Fox News was coming to town.
I'm also noticing there's some music in the background, so if this is cut out later in the VOD, people understand why. But hopefully that music goes away.
2024. Who's pumped up for the election? All right. Rapid fire. Who's your man? Who's your woman?
My man, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Christy. Christy, no.
Who's your man?
Trump.
Or woman?
I'd say Trump.
Trump. A lot of Trump fans.
That music is getting.
And Nikki Haley.
Donald Trump and Nikki Haley.
All right, so far.
I like Jimmy Dore.
Why is All Star playing? This is really annoying me.
Yeah.
I should probably stop that because it's gonna like take down my entire channel. But,
yeah, I think we got the idea here. To
yes,
that.
we got the idea.
A diner in Florida. You'd think some of them would be for DeSantis. I think he eventually gets to one woman who's like, "Yeah, I like DeSantis or Trump," but yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear.
It's kind of surprising considering it's Florida. Like I thought it'd be a little more divided.
I don't think it's too surprising. I mean, I think there was maybe
based on polls, but I know we can't all trust polls. But based on polls, DeSantis has been leading in Florida over Trump. But
yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. I think as DeSantis is out there more, he's people will see right through him that he's got nothing. And as Trump continues to get his groove back, he's clearly going to it's not even going to be close. It's going to be Trump.
I think
it's
if Republicans if they really want evil to prevail, they should go with DeSantis. Like if I were a Republican and I wanted to see a new world order, I'm going DeSantis all day. Like that's true umbrage energy.
They vote with feeling, right? Like it's charisma. So when it goes to like that's what it is. Trump has the charisma, DeSantis doesn't. So Trump's going to win out because he's going to be the alpha in the room. and they're gonna, you know, what DeSantis is doing in Florida, I guess, comes second, really. To
I mean, I think
how
that's
Trump
better
makes
for
them
us.
feel.
I personally think it's better for. I think that's better for us, or better for
it is.
Democrats to have Trump. I think that's better
Yes.
to go against
Yeah.
Trump. So
Yep.
ultimately, if the Republicans don't realize what the devil has handed them in DeSantis, who am I to push them towards the devil's light? So you know, but they should go with DeSantis because that's the evil motherfucker. He's gonna get some because he's gonna do it. To me, like I said, DeSantis's strength is he is the evil of yesteryear, where Republicans were able to do all the evil things they wanted under the cloak of civility and ideology and belief system. And DeSantis does that. He returns them more to that. But if they want to go, listen, if they want to go flashy, who am I to stop them? But Donald Trump is better for us, I think, because that's because the thing about Donald Trump is all the hatred is already mobilized against him. Everybody, like Democrats right now, don't have anybody compelling that we're putting forward. But if you could give people the old fear they felt of, oh Jesus, not Donald Trump, because they don't know. People who aren't paying attention don't know DeSantis the same way. They don't have the same level of we need to rush out for him. But if you say Donald Trump, they're like, oh no, nobody wants to go back there. So they'll come out because that's the thing. Even though I always say Biden, the only reason Donald Trump is the best thing that ever happened to Joe Biden. Joe Biden would never be president of the United States if it weren't for Donald Trump. Period.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nobody felt strongly for it, but it's the most votes ever cast. Okay, they're like
not there.
That's true.
Talks to ghosts. Like, no, he talks to ghosts. The president of the United States should not talk to people who aren't there. That's not normal. That's scary as fuck. Okay, I say that as a non-American. I don't want to see that. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see a podium with the most powerful human being on the planet talking to a human being who isn't there. It should not happen.
Wait, did Donald Trump talk to ghosts?
No. Joe Biden did. Well, I'm sure Trump has at one point or another. Trump talks to
ghosts. Well, in fairness to Biden,
yes.
Biden. I've been under the impression that Biden's no longer with us. So when you think about it, like, that actually you're disrespectful.
He's slowly making the transition to the
that
other
man
side
is
of the house.
communicating on the realm, the plane that he exists. Okay, you don't see him, but Biden sees him. Okay, he's got his one foot in, one foot out.
If he can go past Trump, I'm happy. Then hell yeah.
Oh, Blair.
Yes, ma'am. I've got you. All right. So here's kind of a little goofy question. So apparently this was brought up in one of Matt Binder's streams, asking if we were ever going to consider going on tour of doing a live Leftist Mafia show in Toronto.
Yes. That was brought up. Someone called in and wanted someone called in and wanted us to do first they wanted us to do a tour, and then they mentioned being that Lance is on one side of Canada, right? And David's on the other side of Canada. At the very least, we should go up to both of you guys' towns.
Oh hell yes.
What's hilarious about that idea to me is that we just got each other's phone numbers like 2 weeks ago.
Right? Oh, I don't think I've given you guys. I didn't see any of that. I didn't even give you guys my number.
You guys are ready.
No, but
13
honestly,
shows and then we're going on tour. That's amazing.
I would do that though. That's fun. I definitely. I said the other day I want Leftist Mafia hoodies. So I mean that's in the same vein as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and
I just want how not to talk us down or anything, but how big is our audience? Like, are we able to? Are people going to show up?
We'll sell out stadiums, David. Ticketmaster won't know what happened.
Especially in Canada, like, are there enough Canadians watching us right now to show up?
I mean, you too. I would assume between the six of us, we could definitely pack a venue, like a moderate sized venue in New York City. Like in Brooklyn or something.
New York.
One off. We all go to New York. That would work. I agree with that.
I would be all for New York, like Brooklyn. Just to throw it out there, I feel like that'd be a good place to do it. Yeah, I would be all for that. I think that'd be dope. I mean, more people watch our show than we think. I've realized. Like today, I was on Laverne Cox's show, and she was fully talking to me about our episodes, and I was like, oh wow, people watch.
That is wild. That is absolutely wild.
Yes, fully watches it. fully watches, and she said that she is dying to come on the show.
I
So we are
love
going to
her
schedule
so
that.
much. Oh my god.
I literally was like, "Oh, I can't wait to go flex in the whole group chat, Laverne. Thank you for telling me. I'm gonna go tell them that's what I did for us."
I'm gonna have to be quiet. I'll just fangirl the whole time. I absolutely adore her. Be like, I have nothing of value to say.
Listen, no, it's amazing. It really is dope. Yeah. So actually I think we can. I think that'd be dope. I think that's something to shoot for. Let's revisit that in
couple months
it's
maybe.
not. Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah,
what-
let's wait
now,
a bit.
March?
See.
Yeah,
of
let's
course.
let's
Save it for
revisit it in August. Let's start talking about it again in August.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, I am working on creating our Discord server, and I created our subreddit as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Subreddit?
Yes.
What's our subreddit?
It's r/the Leftist Mafia.
Oh yeah.
So
I
we
don't know
have a
Reddit, so I'm gonna use
subreddit,
this.
and then I'm working on our Discord server right now.
That's
I-
amazing.
I have our placeholder name is the Breadline, but that's what I'm working with.
Wow.
Okay. I'll take it.
I like
That's
that.
dope.
Maybe
Very
we'll
dope.
get submissions from the subreddit too. Because
Yes.
we can see what people post throughout the week. You can upload
Absolutely.
it, get uploaded. So you one way.
Who's RM Brown? Invite RM Brown again. Who's that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was on a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
The
Oh,
He said you were his favorite.
Oh, on this show.
Yeah.
yeah.
I smoked so much weed. Right. Mike, I know exactly who y'all talking about. My fault. I was like, in the comments. I mean, like, and then immediately I started trying to clear the haze of smoke in my brain. Like, they're not really yeah, so that would be dope. That would be very dope.
We do have to talk about one topic we haven't touched yet, and I think it's pretty
Mm.
important. And I know all of you have been itching to talk about it, which is Scott Adams and the future of comics. as we-
Oh my!
Oh my God.
My episode of my live stream was all about that this week. Entire
Should I-
breakdown of.
Should I play his clip? Is it even necessary? I mean,
You,
I feel like
you should-
everybody's seen it by now.
I do think
Yeah.
you should.
Have,
let
have you
people who
seen A
haven't seen
Birth of a Nation?
Okay.
If you've seen A Birth of a Nation, you probably know what he's going to talk about. It's
I do
gonna be
like
a lot.
I do like this version of the clip simply because it has an Elon Musk tweet right above it, and this kind of shows how both of these people are absolutely disgusting. Here it is.
That's good.
What exactly are
exactly
you
did you
complaining
say?
about? Let me turn this. Hopefully, this is loud enough. We'll see.
Advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get.
By the way, in case you don't know, this is the creator of Dilbert, that comic strip.
Oh,
That
that's
guy.
why he got fired. This is the shit he said.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets so
But
much
we should
worse.
we should give some context here because the conservatives defending him were all about the context, and that is there was this poll that was put out by the pollster, the right wing pollster Rasmussen, that basically asked, put out a survey and got a poll results from that survey from people. They asked, do you agree with this statement? It's okay to be white. And I should give you some background on that. This is a phrase that was originated on 4chan back in 2017 as like one of their troll campaigns. Whether the phrase was actually started by pure trolls who wanted nothing more than to mess with people or trolls who were white supremacists doesn't fucking matter, because the point is, from that troll campaign on 4chan, actual happy to be out white supremacists and neo-Nazis actually
Grand
started
Wizard of the
using the
KKK, like
yeah, like David Duke started actually using the phrase "it's okay to be white" a lot. Like David Duke has been when he was on Twitter, was all over Twitter using it. It's all over his website. You can literally find photos of white supremacists rallies where they're holding banners of the phrase "it's okay to be white." So regardless of whatever, the ADL also considers it to be a hate symbol on their website. They list it under hate symbols. So they asked this poll question: do you agree with the statement? Is it okay? It's okay to be white. And in the breakdown, they pulled out just what the Black Americans they polled thought, and it was something like 52% of Black Americans agreed that it's okay to be white. Another like 23 or something percent disagreed, and like 20% said they weren't not sure. So if you really want to break that down, it's clear that you got a number of people who have no idea what's wrong with like what the background of that phrase is. So they probably said, I have nothing wrong with that statement. And then you had that 23% that disagreed, who probably looked it up and went, oh shit, look at all this stuff I just Googled and found. This is not okay. I disagree with that statement.
All lives matter. Do you agree? Do you agree with the sentence all lives matter? Someone like most people would be like, oh, wait, no. Like in theory, yes, but like that's a white supremacist
because it's a rebuttal to Black Lives Matter, which is why they'd be apprehensive. Yeah.
But even with all that said, okay, you have all these addendums here with the context. You have this right-wing leaning pollster Rasmussen clearly asking this question to cause controversy because they know. And then on top of that, you have the background of the actual phrase and what it means. So you got to assume that at least some of the people who were surveyed looked it up and found out, and that's what
looked it up.
Had them choose.
Right wing shit. They heard it and they're like, "What the fuck are they even talking? Oh, it's the right wing is on some bullshit."
Right.
And
But then on top of that, you even do have 53%, a majority of the Black Americans they asked in this poll, still agreeing that it's okay to be white with the phrase.
That wasn't enough.
That wasn't enough for Scott Adams. But then on top of, but even like further on top of that, if you look at like the methodology of the poll, the Black Americans that were asked, the number of them was 113. They only asked 113 Black people. At least 113 Black people.
But based on that, Adams is like 35 of them or something. Of Black people don't agree with white people should exist. This is them calling for white genocide.
So
with
with
all
all
35 people that responded.
Right. So with all that in mind, go ahead and play the clip so that now that you know what enraged Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, to go ahead here.
And in his number, he adds the not sure and the no together. So to create his number, which isn't even the actual number, but anyways, here it is.
This advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from Black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help Black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It is no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to Black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist.
White
That's
people
the
are very.
outcome.
Pause it.
It makes
Pause it there.
no
You know
sense.
what's crazy? You know what's crazy? I swear to God, I have a DM in I have a message in my DMs from a white person that follows me just like this, like being very, very dead ass, being incredibly like down. No, I'm really. I'm swear to God, I'm not even lying. Like this level of unhinged is rampant. No, I'm telling you, swear to God. Yesterday, like let me read it to y'all because I made like that 20-second video where I was like, I don't like when white ladies are trying to be condescending and they go girl or sis. Set this white lady off, yo. She messaged me and she said,
What I want to know, what the fuck was Scott Adams doing for Black people that he's gonna pull back from now? Like, what is his big contribution to Black America that he's going, well, you're not getting Scott Adams anymore, Black people? Like, what is this contribution from the creator of Dilbert?
As Black, you've got to reveal that he used to identify as Black. That was the other part. Like,
But this clip didn't have something right before where this clip starts. He also I don't think it was part of this clip. He calls, because of these poll results, he calls Black people in America a hate group.
Yes, he does. Before that, he says, I no longer identify as a Black man in America because I now see that they are a hate group. That he says that in that clip. And then everyone was kind of like record scratch, like he probably misspoke there. The next day he starts tweeting out, I used to identify as a black man. I no longer do that because they're a hate group. And you're like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what level of 4chan is this? I don't even know. I've never seen it.
Layers to the insanity.
Yeah, this is levels of 4chan I didn't think was humanly possible. Seriously.
Anyways, Olay, go ahead. I want to read. I want to hear those. I want to hear those DMs.
Oh, I mean, I love you. Some white folks might want to know how to be better allies, how to be educated and involved in black culture without being black fishers, how to be good people without being appropriators. Sometimes we don't think we can even express outrage about a police murder because we, quotations, don't think it's our place. Can you believe that shit? It's like two women in the same community, but saying girl, please, because all of us women are still doing worse than men. Anyways, I'm going to step away for a while. You're my favorite person, but I am a white lady, caps lock. Nothing I can do about it. Not my choice.
How dare you, Olay?
I was like,
oh my god.
How dare you?
Whatever did I do to you, white woman?
God damn.
Yo.
Holy shit.
How could you do this to me?
I was like, what are you? Like, you ever, I get these messages and I'm like, clearly you're mid-conversation with me in your mind. Like, I didn't get what exactly? What did I say? What are you mad at? I'm like, he caps lock, but I am a white lady. I was like, did I condemn? Did I tell white women? I was like, where did I tell you, girl, that you can't be a white lady? Like, you said, not my choice, nothing I can do. But I'm like, I don't even know you. I never asked you to change anything. I was never mad.
Forgive me. How could
No,
I?
they
No.
really, it's really a certain level of like the way that they think that their compassion is so coveted. Like, I actually spent about 2% of my life feeling sorry for Negroes, and I'll never do that shit again since you ungrateful Negroes there insist on talking shit. She said, can you believe that? I tried to have the nerve. I really tried to have compassion for you Negroes. And somebody on Twitter told me to watch my tone. Could you believe that shit? Girl, fuck you. I love you, but girl, fuck you. I will be taking it back from all your Negro struggles. Handle it on your own since you know so well, Miss Negro. Since you don't want me to call you girl. Okay, then sister girl. I was like, Miss, I was cracking jokes with my people. It wasn't even, why are you so upset? This letter is so long.
You know what? Fuck that lady for being white specifically. It's not okay.
And I feel bad because I'm sure she really does like me. But I was like, I ain't do nothing. I ain't even.
Was that the post about you were talking about AAVE? Because you said nothing. Okay, that if you get that apoplectic over that, I'm sorry. You need to reevaluate your life because what you said was perfectly reasonable and funny.
Let me send the
It
audience.
is cringe.
I'll send the video to Twitter. So
And
y'all-
even if she doesn't agree with you, just ignore you. Like, she doesn't have to freak out,
Right.
like DM you about it. Like, it's just
We're human beings. We're gonna say
Gotta
things
drop
that you
the
disagree
DMs.
with.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But my thing is, there was some other white girl on Twitter that got mad too, and trying to get all angry. And I'm like, here's my thing. I said it, and then you're literally looking at thousands of black women say the same thing. Jump in of all walks like that they hate that shit, and then they go out of their way to be like, "Girl, sis," and I'm like, "See, you see what I'm saying? I told you. I set a boundary. I said I don't like something, and now you've decided to do that anyway. Now, if I curse you out, I'm the bad guy. But all right." I'm sending y'all the video that set them off. It also was funny because it was like it's a joke. It's like I meant like you know theoretically you're serious, but the video itself is for comedy. It's a few seconds, like jokes. I sent it to the group chat on Twitter. So y'all can show the audience. I was like, why are you? I was like, how did y'all? What are you?
Fly off the handle over that. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I was like, I have like a full length videos calling for the abolishment of your criminal system. You should go be more upset about something else. Like, I don't feel like this should rise to it for you. Fucking show them.
the other part of the Scott Adams thing that wasn't in that clip was just that he also talked about how he's moved away to like an all-white community now or something. Like,
yeah,
just like
as opposed to where the other white people live, right?
Well, and he said that though after hearing this poll, But it's like, wait, did you see the poll before you decided to move, or did you already make that decision to get away from black people before you saw the poll? So he's telling on himself on so many levels, and there's just like layers to the insanity. It's still unbelievable. Like,
responsibility.
My thing is just be a racist. Like I don't understand. Like
Well, he has
why.
been, and now he's just being
No,
like.
but that's what I'm saying. Like,
But
just
he won't take responsibility for it now. Yeah, he's
yeah,
trying to
just
back away
lean
now.
into the title.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. Like the reason why we have words is so that it's easier to describe what you're doing. Like you
Well,
don't.
it's because he doesn't want his livelihood impacted. That's why, like his comic strips like
First
taking
of all,
out
this
everywhere.
comic book is- this comic book is named Dilbert. Y'all shouldn't be surprised at what he is.
It's like, guess what? Work sucks. Wow, inventive.
Yeah. But David, today he was saying that like he actually was the only one who didn't know. He's like, oh, so now everyone is saying I'm a racist because I didn't know it was a racist sentence to ask, is it okay to be white? He tweeted that out today. I was like,
oh my god,
everyone knows. Come on, you're on the
Regardless
internet.
of the poll, it's everything he said in the video. Like it doesn't. The
Right.
poll is not even
Yeah.
necessary. Like,
It's easier to give the whole like segregation would be great again. Yeah, that doesn't skirt
And
over
also,
that.
by the
Yeah.
way, just everything about it is so funny, right? Because if you call them a white supremacist, they'll be so angry, but they are quite literally discussing white supremacy, because the fact that you're even discussing, he's talking to the whites, hey, stop lending them your help and compassion. You are literally implying that we are the dominant group. We are the people whose help you need. We are the people in power, right? They would need our assistance. And he is literally saying, hey, stop that shit. So it's like you're quite literally conceding to be a white supremacist, and yet you are so upset by that characterization. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Drop this
Matt
really
Bender sent this
funny.
over.
Yeah, this really funny. It's nothing to
the
do
first
with
black character on Dilbert. Yeah,
This is this apparently is the first black character on Dilbert. On the left, open up the picture on the left completely. That's how the strip looks, I guess, like on his website, or how he
after
made
30
the strip.
years.
Yes,
30
the
years.
joke is obviously
First black character in 30 years.
and of
Oh my
course
God.
it's making the gender identity joke here. I identify as white, says his first black character. The very first thing the first black character on Dilbert says is I identify as white.
Yep.
Wow.
But
it's a joke.
When it printed in the actual newspaper, it printed on a non-Sunday, which means when it's not printed on a Sunday, it gets printed in black and white.
Oh my
So it
God.
ruined his entire joke. And it just ended up looking like
That's beautiful.
like a white guy saying he identifies
This
as
is
white.
actually funny. Oh my God. That's amazing. Oh wow.
Well,
Claire.
yes, I assumed we were gonna start asking who is getting canceled and uncanceled for the week.
Yeah, we could do that.
Cancel George Santos.
Yeah, I vote to
Recancel.
cancel.
Yeah, that's right. We're recanceling.
Yep.
Is this a mea culpa or what?
Yeah.
Let's clean house. Let's clean house. All right. You clean up your room.
So wait,
you know,
what happened
come
this
on.
week that has changed things?
This bastard. Let me read the tweet. I was like, bro, you can't even let a good thing last. Like, you can't even let me get my jokes off in peace. Okay, he tweeted.
See if we can find the tweet.
My district has become the constant target of international organized crime thanks to failed border policies, New York State bail laws. That's where he really had me fucked up. And weak leadership on public safety. All Americans deserve safety. And it was at that moment that he became my enemy. So yeah, I can't even get my jokes off in the good name. I have to put him up, not for cancellation, but for execution. Yeah, I think he's been up for cancellation too many times. It's now
It's elevated.
you need to be serious measure.
There we go. All right, he is recanceled.
Yes. Okay. Uncanceled. Who are we uncanceling?
Ooh. I don't want anyone to be uncanceled this week, honestly. Everyone can stay where they are.
All right.
I don't know who's canceled. That's always the problem for me. I think everyone that's canceled that deserves to be canceled.
Wait, does anybody watch Perfect Match?
Huh.
Y'all really disappoint me. In the way is anybody, please, if you watch Perfect Match on Netflix, type in the comments quickly, so I can see if it's worth even me saying what I want to say. Somebody say yes. All I need is one. That's really that's really all I need. But if y'all have watched Perfect Match, I need to cancel.
What the hell is perfect?
What the hell is Perfect Match in the first
This,
place?
oh, it's a fucking hot mess show on Netflix. Okay, so boom.
Oh, Rose said yes.
You got a yes. You got a yes.
Yes, thank God. All right, so it's this trash
Someone else
ass
said I watch it.
reality
There we
dating
go.
show on Netflix. So
You got
Netflix
two
has
yeses in my
several.
chat too.
Netflix has several bad dating shows. Love is Blind, Too Hot to Handle, The Circle, The Mole, and something else stupid. Anyway, they took a bunch of those people from those popular dating shows and threw them in this house, and they said, "Well, you got to find your perfect match." Just be throwing them in the bed to get all kind of nonsense, just a bunch of foolishness, just the bottom of the barrel child. But there's one guy on there named Bartiz. That motherfucker is a villain. He was a villain on Love is Blind. He came back more a villain. His haircut is absurd. Everything about him needs to be canceled and done away with. He is a gaslighting, caramel colored Bert from Bert and Ernie. I can't stand him.
I watched when he was on Love is Blind, so I recognize this guy. Yeah.
And he's worse. He's a fucking
He's worse than that show on the new show.
So awful. He's so awful. Actually, you know what? Let me actually cancel Netflix and hire their producers for what they do with these dating shows, because the way on Perfect Match, they wanted to make it more look diverse. So they threw on a bunch of black women that all get voted. Every single one, every black person, when they come, they bring back all the people who've been voted off. Nothing but that's the whole black cast. No one there to be interested in them romantically. Is absurd. The only there was like a couple of light skinned black guys that only like white women there. It was unreal. So cancel all that shit. Netflix, The Perfect Match, Bartiz by name. That is what I want to put up for cancellation. That still doesn't help us on uncancellation, but that's definitely cancel them. Definitely cancel them. I need that.
There we go. More cancellations.
Yes, absolutely. Let me see who else we could cancel. Let me see. I see Ariana Davis and Miley Cyrus return back to their regular white colors. So maybe them. They decided to be white women again. So
I didn't know about. Okay, well, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, they both decided to be white women again. So I guess.
Okay, cool. I hope they feel seen. Nice.
Yes. so theoretically, now that they're
cool.
they're returning to their roots. Maybe we can uncancel them.
They've had a hard time. You know, they deserve it.
Y'all got anybody?
Someone's saying cancel Pete Buttigieg. He's canceled.
He's already canceled.
He's already canceled.
Quite a while.
Why cancel The Weeknd and Sam Levinson? What they do?
Yeah.
I don't know much about this. They have a new show coming out.
It's super long. It's really long. It's a
long.
whole new. Yeah, it's long. It's long.
Okay, y'all gotta tell me next week if it matters still.
You got to watch the clip.
It's around like an HBO. It's like an HBO show, right? They have like a new HBO show coming out, I think.
Yeah.
The show, why they mad? Why I can't have a show? What's up with having a show? Why does having a show get you canceled?
Philip Franco did a good breakdown of this too.
Wait, tell us, Lance.
Oh, the show's apparently a shit show. It's made by the creator of Euphoria. I don't know if you know about the controversy behind Euphoria.
Oh, yeah,
the show like, hypersexualizes high school people, and so now that same person is making a new show, and now they're all kind of like the new show seems super yikesy. And now The Weeknd is like he tweeted out a video clip that was making fun of Rolling Stone, who was criticizing them for the whole thing, and the whole thing is perpetual. It's just it's yikes all around kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you know, such is life. That sounds like the regular stuff they be doing.
It's nothing too interesting. Yeah.
Why they mad at Haley Bieber? I'm assuming there's white people business. Tell me more.
I don't know. I unfortunately know against my will.
Thank you. Oh, I love this. You know what it's like getting all the leftist content creators in one room can be like somebody's gonna know. Tell me what's up. Thank you.
Okay. It's whatever. It's I guess Haley Bieber and like Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, all of them were bullying Selena Gomez, and she still
bullying. What do you mean bullying a rich person? What are you talking about?
Yeah, well,
now
it's three nepo babies, 3 white nepo babies bullying a rags to riches Latina girl.
What do they mean bullying? There's no high school where bullying her where? She's
so she I guess made some joke on TikTok or on her Instagram that she over laminated her eyebrows, some shit like that. This girl's been struggling with like lupus, mental health issues. The girl
is serious?
Yeah, so they post what people speculate was supposed to be a private Instagram story, but they accidentally posted it live, and all of them were essentially making fun of her eyebrows. But for some
These big
reason,
grown adult bitches.
yes,
Mm.
essentially. And now the internet finally is mad enough at it that they are, I don't know, Kylie Jenner's little Kylie lip kit company is like suffering sale losses right now, and Hailey Bieber is losing over 1 million followers on Instagram or something for this. It's really, I don't know, honestly. It's just
It's not a real thing.
yeah, it's,
You know,
I don't know
it's
what to
one.
say.
Mm.
It's a bunch of, like
This
you
is why I
said,
don't like to be in white people business. Like I don't like to get in on white crime because it's hard to comment, right? Because you want to assess the white on white crime substantively for what it is, right? Like
I will
honestly,
say,
crime, right? Selena's the victim, but then the minute I pan out, I'm like,
they're all rich.
Well, yeah,
I
you
will say
shouldn't,
though,
you shouldn't mock someone for an eating disorder if that's what people are saying in chat. If that's the actual case,
I mean, the issue here is that you have two celebrities who a lot of girls look up to, basically condoning bullying someone else. Like I think that's the larger issue here is the impact on who their fans are, as opposed to, Selena Gomez being bullied, whatever, sucks for her, but who cares? The issue is that it's showcasing that, hey, you should make fun of other girls for how they look or what they're going through, and like that's a cool thing to do. Like I think that's the larger issue there.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think. Right. I mean, that's the thing, right? It's fucked up. It's absolutely fucked up. Like, that's a mean, unnecessary thing. It strikes me as confusing because they're grown. Like, I don't understand. I don't know any 20-something-year-old women that are just like, it just is very like juvenile in a way that doesn't read. Like, the whole story, like when you hear bullying, it's like, there's
Yeah, it's like,
nowhere really
okay.
as adult people. Why are you convening with, thinking of, or chatting about somebody that you don't like? As
Because they're super rich, they got nothing else to do. Like it's just it's
So
really ridiculous.
the
Yeah,
only
no,
like
so that's messed up.
the only two things about it that are honestly of any interest is one, that Hailey Bieber apparently grew up as an ultra fangirl / stalker of Justin Bieber, who essentially her rich father manifested them being a thing together. And two, that Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin both went to that kind of cult church called Hillsong. And it's been speculated, and Justin's alluded to it, that Hillsong arranged the marriage between the two of them. That's the only thing that's of any interest really in the story, is that she was a stalker who then got the man, but the church arranged it. And I just don't really care.
I could have every man. If I had the ability to get any man or do all of this, I'm not fucking picking Justin Bieber. Are you crazy? Like in Hollywood,
Thank
like
you.
you had the ability to do all that, and Bieber, like Bieber's like, if you pick Bieber up in the wild organically, I'm not mad at that. But like, we go there, extra links, like
Wild Pokemon.
Organic Bieber.
check them out, like,
Oh, the beaver is nice.
A wild beaver appeared.
Yeah.
Throw ball. Catch.
But that's
I
it.
see somebody in the comments feels a way that I said, why don't I crime? You wanted me to make the caveat that Selena Gomez is Latina. Okay, acknowledge she's very much so still white passing. I would very much so say she's still a white Latina, but nonetheless, what I mean is she's certainly not Afro Latina. It's certainly not Black people business, right? What's happening between Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez, and Kylie. I don't think that's a crazy characterization. I would not take it as far as to be like, I think that's how she sees us. Please don't act as though what's happening with Selena Gomez is like the plight and heart of the Latino community. I feel like that would be unreasonable, right? Like that's really not what I'm overlooking here. I don't think that's fair. But like I said, I do think it is messed up. I think very much so. I've seen people, I don't know, that's the thing. The Selena Gomez and those people, that's obviously not are big. She's like my age, which means obviously the generation beneath is who was her audience, whatever, in Disney and stuff like that. So I don't know what be happening with them, but from my understanding, I know I had seen the other day my friend had said she was being like body shamed, or that she'd gained weight or something, and people were criticizing her. That I could barely see. That's what I'm saying. It becomes a world of incredibly like rich white standards that you can't even speak to, because there's no world where Selena Gomez is fat in the regular world, or the things that they're talking about or what they're saying about her eyebrows. These are niche. This is niche rich white disrespect. So like that's what this is, and it's incredibly messed up. Bro, I said she's not white. I don't know what more you want me to do for you. But yeah, I acknowledged it. But yeah, no, yeah, I assume we can't cancel those people because they were never not canceled in our books. We don't really mess with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all want to cancel? Y'all want to cancel Haley Bieber?
Yeah, I don't
That's,
think we. No, I don't think we've uncanceled.
I don't think we
anybody.
care about her
It's
enough.
not possible.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think we.
I don't. I don't even know. I don't even know
Yeah.
what a Haley Bieber is. I don't know where she came
Exactly.
from. Who she
No.
Leave
is.
it that way. It's
No,
better
that's
for all of
reserved
us.
as power, okay? Sacred
I'm out of my
stuff.
league here too. I feel like a boomer in this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay.
It's nepo baby shit next.
I agree with, well, no, Blair, you were right. Maybe we won't uncancel anyone. It's one of those weeks.
Yeah.
It's one of those weeks.
No one's
Maybe-
getting
maybe
uncanceled.
no one needs
You
to
know,
get
this tends to be
Yeah,
our
whatever, I don't
problem. You know, I don't know. It's starting to look very carceral of us. We have somebody to cancel all the time, but every single week we're like, I don't cancel. I've never thought about clemency.
People keep
Like,
getting
that's really-
worse.
that's really
Well,
messed
because
up.
we don't do mass incarceration, so there isn't like a lot of people to uncancel. It's just because
Yeah.
the ones that are canceled, they're canceled, as they should be.
Yeah, we gotta start thinking
We have
about
a
it.
deficit.
But yes. Well, I guess we're not canceling nobody.
No, we're good.
A little cute little send off. Blair, send us off.
Well, oh, all right. Well, okay.
Great, send.
Shit. Sorry. Yeah. So we're gonna end today's episode. Everyone, go ahead and give y'all some shout outs as we head out for the night.
Oh, shit.
Everyone else go.
Lance.
Hi, I'm Lance. If you like the words that come out of my mouth hole, go to @thesurfstv in all of the social medias. There you go.
Bender.
Follow me on Twitter @Matt Binder. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Matt Binder. Also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Matt Binder. Oh, and I should add that when you guys were all talking about I think Blair was the one talking about setting up the Discord server and the subreddit. It made me think, oh, wait a minute, I got to check something. And I checked, and while we were talking, I made sure to register leftistmafia.com. No one else can grab that now.
Oh,
there you
there we go.
Okay, Bender, look at
Smart.
you caring about us.
go.
Bender is like the boyfriend that breadcrumbs you, so he does anything, and you're like, oh, you do care. Like,
Oh, that is actually pretty. Yeah,
literally,
that's.
Bender. I'm like,
I'm surprised that's actually available. That's wow. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Good.
Good
Hell
shit.
yeah.
Well, it's not available anymore.
Well, that it was.
Nice. But I will recommend just preemptively that we will sell the website to any right-wing organization that wants to showcase SJWs or wokesters if they offer us a good enough price, just in advance, you know.
Well, speak for yourself.
I'm just kidding.
all right, y'all can follow me on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok @Miss Olurin, MSOLURIN. I see somebody asked if I'm doing tea time with Ole. I wasn't going to, but I think I might. I'll do it after. I won't do it super long, so it's only gonna be like 30 minutes to an hour. But I'll do tea time after this. Scout Hunter Spaceman, you should come. Since I see you were talking in the comments, you should come talk to me about my my incorrect classifications of Latino people. Come educate me. I'm all for that. And yeah, so I'll do that, and subscribe to my Substack Illuminati. And I am in the next month, I am going to launch my own show, y'all. I got a producer. It's going to happen. We created a channel. It's gonna be a thing. So anyway,
A podcast, a YouTube show. What's it gonna be?
YouTube show.
Nice.
And you got a
Yeah.
producer. That's pretty official. Nice.
Listen, official like a whistle.
Even I
okay?
don't have a producer.
Same. Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry. Let me set a link right now for tea time with Ole, since people asked in the comments. 1 second, I'm gonna do it right now before we come off so that y'all can get it.
And I'm gonna stay here for super chats, everybody. So
Yeah.
you'll see me, and I'll do my send off then.
And you can follow me. My name is David Dole. Follow me on Twitter @TRN Show. My personal account, David Dole. Rational National here on YouTube.
Don't
So,
confuse
yeah.
people. Have I told you this, Mike, but I'm not sure if anyone else knows. I think the first time I was recognized, they thought I was from the Humanist Report. Like, oh, I recognize you. You're the Humanist Report, right? I'm close.
I love that. You know what's funny is that sometimes I'll see a comment still till this day. Like the last one was from like a year or so ago, where they're like, "Really great work, Mike. I agree with you." Or "Really great work, Kyle. You made great work great points here, Kyle. I'm like, oh well, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Just in the comment section, but like, I still think it's funny.
Oh my god.
We're interchangeable. Kyle, Mike, David, same thing.
Apparently, I don't
my
know.
best friend refuses to learn y'all's names. I specifically, if I say y'all's individual names, he just looks at me until I say your show names, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. That it's easier for you. I have to say Humanist Report. I have to say Rational Action. I'm like, why don't you just learn their names? He was like, Matt's, Lance's, David's, Mike's. It's all the same. I was like, your name is Mark. Like, how are you? Okay, I just sent the link for tea time in the Twitter, so y'all can send it to them in the chat for me, pretty please.
Cool.
I'll do that.
And then I'm Blair, or the Illuminati. You guys can find me youtube.com/Illuminati. I think that's how it is. And then working on our Discord server for the Leftist Mafia. However, we do have a subreddit now, reddit.com/r/the Leftist Mafia.
Go join that subreddit, everyone. I'm gonna do that right after this, and I will lurk and never post. No,
Same.
I might post.
Post there, give us your topics, send us your great memes. I already see you/stars art bar
Oh,
has
yeah, there's already
posted
one
the
there.
first thing, the
Oh.
first meme of our subreddit. So good job.
Oh,
It's
what's-
already off to a great start.
I think we should commit to reading every single username just so they are encouraged.
Oh,
Assuming it
yeah.
doesn't get too ridiculous.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should do that.
And there we
We should
go.
do-
We did it, y'all. Another episode. Congratulations. There's our
There we
second
go.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, let me see it.
Nice.
That's hilarious. I
You look
love
great.
that.
I promise I'll decorate it and make it pretty eventually.
Very
That's
nice.
honestly, that's amazing.
Oh, this is dope. I love it. I love it.
We're becoming
Yeah,
official.
y'all should
folks.
tell us. Would y'all want to learn? Do y'all want Leftist Mafia shirts? Because I want one. With
How would we facilitate that, though, is the thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
we gotta
can.
figure that out.
I don't know. I'm gonna get me one. I don't know how to help anybody else in the world. I just wanted them to have desires. I didn't intend to ever in any way meet their needs. I just wanted them to I just wanted to know if anybody shared my sentiments. Because I'm gonna get me a shirt.
I share it. Let's talk offline. I can probably set us all up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Let's go talk in our chat. We will figure it out later. But I think we can do it.
All right.
All right.
Sounds
Bye
good.
now. Good
Catch
night,
you on
everybody.
tea time. The link is in the chat. Come talk to me, Scout. Bye, y'all. See y'all on tea time in a second.